Dean Graziosi is a multiple New York Times best-selling author, investor, and an entrepreneur who's been involved in over 13 companies that have been changing lives all over the globe. He went from growing up in poverty, overcoming a learning disability, and rebuilding cars as a mechanic to becoming a highly successful real estate entrepreneur and best-selling author.
Need motivation? Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dean Graziosi, and my take on his top 50 rules for success. Enjoy.
Think about how many times in your life you had a massive win because you had no confidence. It doesn't exist, right? If you were looking to go meet that girl or that guy and you walked up and you're like, hey, I was hoping we could I get you? No, that doesn't work. You walk in a business meeting, hey, do you think we could? No, that doesn't work. Go to talk to your kids about something in school. Hey kids, no, you need confidence. You need the energy. You need to be alive. Well, if you know me and been watching my videos, that's me. I've made my career on enthusiasm and energy and being in the right state of mind and having the confidence. But the biggest myth is that you're born with confidence. No, I was the shyest kid in the world. I felt so insecure, felt dumb. I learned how to manufacture the confidence. And after 25 years of being an entrepreneur, generating hundreds of millions of dollars, being blessed to touch the lives of millions of people around the world, what I know for a fact is that you can create the state of mind and the confidence to live the best you, to unlock that inner hero. I literally flew to Arizona to meet a media buyer, and I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I just kept pushing in. Wow. And one of those things that I think during the evolution of growing from wherever you are to where you want to go is do whatever you do best. I mean, do whatever you're doing the best you can, knowing there's the bigger horizon. So I literally was working during the day on cars. I'd paint cars. I was doing collision repair at night. I'd go work on my apartments, and I was a plumber and hung rock. And I'd work till midnight on houses, and I was tired, but I had a dream. I knew I wanted to help people do better. So it made what I was doing okay because I knew there was more. Mm-hmm. So the big problem I see is people want more and they hate what they're doing. So that they're in a state of mind where, God, when I'm done with this crap, then someday I'll reach my dreams. And if you can flop that to go, no, this is the gateway to my dreams. I don't care that I'm serving coffee or I'm painting cars or I'm a teacher right now or I'm on my sister's couch. Like, this is what I have to do, and I have to do it the best.
Become a master at this.
Just become a master at that and that's the income and the security and the mindset that fuels the next level. It's not, this is miserable, I hate it, I feel the next level, and now I'm amazing. It's like, you need to master that.
Yeah, the process.
Yeah. I know I've gone on stage in front of 10,000 people, and I thought I should have more PowerPoint, I should have more reminders, and I just remember walking out and saying, I'm here to help rise these people up, to give them capabilities to change their life. It's my vision, it's my goal, it's my obligation to use my unique ability to just help these people and live from my heart. And all I could think about is changing these people's lives. And when I got out there, I wasn't perfect on stage. I wasn't robotic and say the right things, and I didn't have the crisp, clear PowerPoint. But when I spoke from the heart, it overcame all of that. And I get to be one of the best presenters wherever I go because I speak from the heart. Now you might be saying, Dean, that's your unique ability, and maybe that is. But I know for you in life, there are circumstances where you have to prepare. You have to do a PowerPoint. You have to do a presentation. And I want to tell you, passion and from the heart always, always wins over prepared and thinking from the head. Well, let me just ask you something. Right now in the crazy presidential race, the GOP race, Ben Carson is probably the smartest guy when it comes to book smart out of the whole group. And I don't watch the news a lot, but I just read a lot. And somebody said this the other day, and it just hit me. Someone said, man, Ben Carson is probably the smartest guy in that GOP race that's going on, whatever you think of it. And I'm not going to share my opinion. But you know what the guy said when he was done? He's like, but we all know the smartest guy never wins. And I was like, wow. we all know that the smartest guy never wins. And what does that mean? And it's kind of what I'm sharing today. I'm not saying you shouldn't be smart. I'm sure, and so many of you are probably way smarter than I am. But what I want to tell you is enthusiasm and passion and living from your heart, to me, 100% of the time outweighs being over-prepared and robotic and trying to think what to say. I hope I'm getting the right message across today. I've had this question from so many people. How are you so easy to talk on camera, on stage? And I never have a good answer, and I really thought through it, and that's the answer. I am here right now doing this video for you because each week I want to deliver you a nugget that you could just place into your life and make a tiny shift towards a better life. So I don't need a teleprompter. I don't need a script. I come here and just want to deliver, and it's coming from my heart. Now, I have practice. I've been on video for 15 years. I've been doing these for 7, 8 years. And maybe that's not what you do, but you're still going to have these circumstances where you have to talk to your children, talk to your coworkers, talk to your employees, and talk to your employer. And if you get stuck in your head, that's when you get stressed, that's when you get worried, that's when you try to remember what to say, and you leave and go, oh, why did I say that, or why didn't I say more? But if you can go in and say, why am I going in? And live with passion and have it come from your heart, then that's truly you, and you're giving the answers you're supposed to from the real you, not the facade that sometimes life makes us wear. We have this ideal, this image that everything has to be great, that we don't want any problems because we're supposed to be happy all the time. We're supposed to be fulfilled. We're supposed to be full of joy and nothing's supposed to go wrong. But the problems are what make us have the other side of happiness. The harder our problems and the way we find solutions, the way we overcome those problems, the way we process them, be sad, be hurt, be annoyed, and push it out, learn from it, and move on, the level of our problems is the level of our success. You know, you might want to be in a rock band and you want to know the feel of being up on stage and having all these people loving you and cheering. But if you don't want to go through the practices and the rehearsals and carrying your stuff in and out of dumpy little bars and stuff like that all those years, then you don't want to take on that problem of learning in order to have the reward for being on stage and being a musician, right? If you want to start your own company and you just want to make the money and drive the fancy cars, like so many of these websites you see, the $1 billion website and a bunch of people flashing money, it makes you think, oh, I want all that happiness, but I don't want the problems to get there. Listen, that old saying, the smoothest rock is in the roughest part of the stream. If you've had problems, if you are having a problem in your life, how you overcome that problem, how you figure out solutions is the level of life that you get to live. Somebody told me once, the level of complexity you can handle is just correlates in so many ways to the amount of money and the happiness you can achieve. And again, I share this with my kids all the time. You don't know tall until you know short. You don't know happy unless you know sad. You don't know cloudy days unless you know sunny days, and vice versa. So what I'm sharing with you is, your problems are here to sharpen us. Your problems are here to make us stronger. Your problems are here to find the solutions. And the more problems you can take on, the more problems you can get through and come out strong on the other side, the faster your life will go to the next level. Winston Churchill said the definition of success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Take it one step further. From problems to obstacles that you can overcome, they make you stronger, they make you have more grit, and you have the ability to go to the next level. Don't try to avoid problems. Fix those problems, get through it, find a solution, and watch yourself just step up the ladder of success. Whether it's real estate, whether it's success in your own life, your happiness, your joy, your abundance, you have the opportunity to look at problems differently, as a blessing, as a gift, as hard as some of them are. Get over them and hit that next level, the one you deserve.
So what's up, man? It's good to see you. I see you all over the place. I see you hustling. I see you impacting lives, doing amazing stuff on YouTube. I want to share whatever works for, your following, my following today. But I want to share, dude, your book, Built to Serve, you are built to serve. There's a difference when, I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I've been in the self-education industry for 24. Doesn't even seem possible. But there's a lot of people that when you kind of meet your heroes, or you meet the people behind the book, a habits book, a Built to Serve book, a time management. It's like you meet the guy with the time management book, and he's late getting on stage and stressed out of his mind in the green room. Like, there's no congruency is what I wanted to say. And before we chat today, I just want to honor you and give you congruency. what you wrote in this book is really who you are, man. You are built to serve. You reach out to my team all the time and want to help with YouTube and tell us what we're doing wrong. And you're not doing it because of finances. You're not doing it because you're trying to get an edge. You're doing it just because this is who you are, man. So I love seeing you out there. I love seeing you grow. I love seeing the impact you're making.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. I'm still working on accepting compliments. So I'll just say thank you.
Oh, then I'm going to keep doing it through this entire thing to make you feel uncomfortable.
Oh, great. Classic Dean. All right, cool. Well, you know what? Also in that story, you've been really helpful in getting that book out. I remember when I came to Puerto Rico and was trying to get feedback on pre-launch, you and Brendan Burchard took time backstage while you're doing your big event. People paid all this money to come there, and you took time over lunch for 40 minutes to do a deep dive on my strategy. And just super grateful that you guys did that, and you hooked me up with your warehouse and a whole bunch of things that Dean's a big reason why the book has got out there.
Just a little piece, man. Just what's up, everybody? I see the highs. So listen, appreciate everybody. I see all the cool comments coming in. So how can we deliver some value today? How do we help out? Besides, I do got to plug this. Like, if you didn't check out Evan's Built to Serve, you should check it out. The truth is, I'm not all the way done. I freaking love it. My biggest problem is every book I read, Evan, I listen. I have such a hard time reading. I still have dyslexia. It still doesn't stick. So it's taken me longer. But when I actually read a book, it sticks. So highly recommend it. And it's just you. It's like it's having a 200-page conversation with you, which is always cool.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. Well, I also have an audiobook version. I read it myself, so there's always.
Oh, dude, please send that to me.
I hit it big in real estate by the time I was 26, 27 years old, just by taking action, knocking on 1 million doors, and finally got someone to do a no money down deal with me when I was 20, and then another one, and I rolled that into the next deal, and
consistent action.
Consistent action. Yeah. And consistent, failing and getting back up, right? Mm-hmm. The space between failures is really a huge determining factor of your success, right? It's like, if you can fail fast, you can win quicker, right?
Yeah.
How can you find the time, the energy, the effort, and the nerve to start, to make that first call, to put out that first bandit sign, to put up a Craigslist ad, to start to 25 to 1, to call banks? How do you do that? Well, this one today is learning to say no. Now, one thing I've learned from the most successful people on the planet, if you want to say millionaires, I've been lucky enough to meet billionaires. The one thing I've learned, the more they say no, the wealthier they get. Now, you may have heard me say this before, but it's that important of a success principle. It took you a lot of yeses to get here. Yes to overtime. Yes to missing your kids' soccer or dance class. Yes to your wife or your husband getting upset because you're working later. Yes to getting my program. Yes to going to a live event. Yes to getting the education. Yes, yes, yes. Yes to your friends. If you're watching this, you are the busiest people other people know. They say if you want something done, ask somebody busy because they know how to get things done. That's you. You're the person in your family amongst your friends. I know it, or else you wouldn't be watching me, that get asked for emotional support, financial support, for a ride, for help, for advice. So you are used to saying yes. So this week, I want you to say no. I want you to make a list of the things that you must say no to so you can focus on you, so you can make a massive impact for your family. You want to help family members that need money? Say no to them for a year. Become an incredible real estate investor. And then if you want to cut them checks, you can. If you want to give more to your church, you want to give more to charity, say no for a little while to so many things so your brain's not all over the place. We think we have ADD. Most of us don't have ADD. There's just too much coming at us. And we say yes to too many things. So here's the assignment. What can you figure out to say no to this week? Because if you say no to things that don't improve your life, don't improve your family's life, don't possibly increase your future income, or put you on a path to the goals that you have, to spend more time with your family, to get out of a job you hate, to pay off bills, I don't know what they are. But you have to make not a to-do list, but you have to make a list of what not to do. Who are you going to say no to? Who are you going to disappoint? What are you going to let go? What habits are eating up your time? Kaizen. The study of Kaizen is one step, one little piece at a time. That's how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you win or run a 1,000-mile race? One step at a time. When Japan rebuilt after World War II, they had to adapt Kaizen because everything was destroyed. They looked at everything gone. They couldn't imagine trying to rebuild Japan. But what did they do? They rebuilt it one brick at a time, one person at a time, one business at a time, and it
turned into such a thriving country so fast because they adapted Kaizen. Break it up into small pieces. You got a goal? Take a bite today, this moment. When you're done watching us right now, go do something towards your goal. Go send an email, call somebody, say no, say yes, look for a new job, start the company, just create the URL. If it's real estate, go make offers. The only reason you think about money is because there's not enough flowing into your life. Because when money flows into your life, you get to be your best you. And the only reason I'm sharing that is because so many people have this deep-seated fear of making extra money. Listen, if you can cut a check for a problem, you don't have that damn problem anymore. You worry about your kids, if you can cut a check, you're worrying about credit card bills, worrying about your business, worrying about your parents. If you can cut a check for that problem, does it solve the problem? We still have to work on us. It doesn't fix us, but it solves a lot of problems. So when I ask you why you want to make more money, why you want to diversify, why you want to have a new stream of income, I just want to give you this little example. I hired a consultant to help me be better with my students, get more people engaged to take action. He said to me, he sits down for 2 minutes, he goes, well, did you ever teach them the 7 levels deep of why they're doing it? I said, no, but if it helps them, give it to me. He's like, no, you have to go through it or else I won't give it to you. I said, fine, I'll go through it. So the whole thing is, I'm going to wrap this up quick, is whatever answer you said when I said, why do you want to make more money? Ask the same question again with that answer. So my first answer was, I want to have an incredible company that changes the world while I make great money and can help other people. That was my first answer. Sounds noble, right? Sounds like that's all from the brain. That's solid. That's who we are. We got this company. We're going to change the world. But then he said to me, Dean, why is that important for you? With my answer, why is it important for you to have a solid business, to help change lives, to make the money? And I gave another message from my head of, I want to set the standard in my industry and get rid of all the crap. And I did about 4 or 5 answers. So I want you to do this tonight. Go through this 7 times. But what happens around the 4th time you ask yourself that question, you flop from your head to your heart. So I got to the 3rd one and I said, I never want to go backwards. Don't even know where it came from. As a kid, we were broke as crap. I mean, I wore hand-me-downs. I got dropped off far from school so the kids wouldn't make fun of my mom's junky car. I was homeless at one point with my parents. We had no place to go. I'd lie and tell my friends I had no money at school. I'd tell them that, I didn't feel like eating because my mom didn't have the bucks so I could eat that day. Now, it's not poor me. That shaped me. I love every bit of it. But I hated it, and I realized I didn't want to go backwards. I said, that's it. And he said to me, no, Dean, we're not done. It's 7 levels deep, not 5. So why don't you want to go backwards? And it just hit me. And I remember I got emotional. I got goosebumps. I said, I never want my kids to experience what I went through. I don't want to raise entitled kids, but I want them to have options. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. And he's like, no, there's one more. I'm like, what there could be? And it just hit me. I said, I want to be in control of my life. My parents got married 5 times each. If you're military, you moved a lot, you know what it's like. Every time you have friends, family, new school, you got to move. I moved 20 times by the time I was 19. And I just realized at that very moment, I wanted to be in control of my life. I wanted to dress the way I want. I wanted to do the work I wanted to work. I wanted to raise my kids the way I wanted. No one was going to tell me what to do in my adult life, and that was my why. If you're having a tough day, your business is kicking your ass, and you just think you want emotional or financial support or financial freedom, it's not enough to get through a tough day. But when you know your true why, I went on stage for years doing this week after week, and I had a woman come up. A woman yesterday said she wanted to make money to travel the world. It reminded me of a woman came up, her first why was, I want to travel the world. After 7 levels deep, she got to number 1. You know what she said? She goes, my physically abusive husband left me 2 years ago. On the way out the door, he said, you're a pathetic loser. You'll never amount to anything. And she goes, I'm going to show him wrong. Screw him. That was her why. Is that a stronger why than just wanting to travel the world? I had another guy stand up and he said, I want to change the youth in my neighborhood. There's not a lot of dads, no support. I want to create this company. I've already started making money. I'm going to take it to a next level. What a strong why coming from his head. You know what his number 1 was? That his mom died before she knew that she set a good example, and he showed her he was a loser while she was alive, and he was going to show her he was a winner in her death. Is that an incredible why?
I'm talking about these two, and I've been blessed to meet presidents, multiple presidents. I've met billionaires. I've been lucky to meet a lot of people, and I feel honored and blessed. But all of them have a kind of a humbleness of felt they weren't ready and not as good as you perceive them. Okay, I'll give you an example. Derek said he went to England to study, and about 4 weeks before the World Championship, his coach came to him and said, get ready. In 2 weeks, you're doing a competition. If you win that and qualify, you're going to the World Championship. And he said, I'm not ready. 4 weeks, I'm not ready. He thought he was going the year after. And she said, you're ready for it. He said he pined over it and said, no way, I'm not ready. And she told him. And the cool part is he had a good mentor. He had someone that became like a second mom to him who told him, yes, you're ready. Yes, you're ready. He went to that event 2 weeks in. He won that. He qualified for the World Championship. And then he's like, I qualified there, but this is the world. Everybody from the world is coming in. I can't do this. I'm too young. He started going through all these excuses. And then like all entrepreneurs do. So I want you to know, we all think the same things you do. And all the things that are there for everybody. But one difference is, overcome your fear and step it up and jump in the game. Because listen, Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. He wanted to wait a whole nother year. When he went into the competition, they had him ranked that he would finish 5th through 7th. And he jumped in, he did the performances of his life, and he won the World Championship, feeling he wasn't ready. Completely didn't want to do it. I mean, think about how his life probably changed forever and ever, because he actually overcame that fear, didn't listen to that demon, those voices inside telling him he wasn't ready, and he got in the game. And I want you to think about future-proofing your life. What does that mean? Technology is moving so fast right now. I was just at an event last week with Peter Diamandis, the author of Abundance. He's the creator of the X Prize. He was the one that put up the money for the first ship that went into orbit that wasn't part of NASA or part of a government. Like, the guy is just unbelievable. He's such a visionary and showed where we're going. Right now there's 100 cars in Pittsburgh, Ubers, that are driving themselves. They're driverless cars. Ford is making driverless cars. They're thinking that Uber alone in 6 or 7 years will be 100% driverless. There's 1 million Uber drivers. Technology right now, robots are going to be cleaning our house, not in 100 years, like in 10. Robots are taking over factories. So what that means is a lot of jobs are going to be lost, a lot of scarcity, a lot of people getting scared, uncertain times. But really, the foundation of all success isn't the magic widget, the magic pill that gets you rich, the lucky invention. All success starts with our habits. All successful people don't worry about the change. They embrace it. They want it. Peter Diamandis is on stage and say, do you see how amazing this is? But what you have to think about is, how do you future-proof your life? How do you future-proof your income? What are some of the things that you can do to make sure you're in a job that's sustainable? You create a business that's sustainable. All of those are kind of, to me, abundant. They're everywhere. But what happens is, when you back up 5 or 6 steps, that's where it all starts. It all starts with an abundant mindset. It all starts with having a vision and clarity on what you really want out of your life. It all starts with not working on your weaknesses and gaining your confidence. It all starts with knowing why you want more. And it starts with having the habits that make you not overcome, but thrive during these uncertain times. Stop worrying about technology. Stop worrying about the crazy politicians in today's world. Stop letting the news affect you. Stop letting the outside world control your knobs, turn you up, turn you down. You can future-proof your life by not letting those thoughts that the future is bad live inside your head. If we focus on what could go wrong, if we focus on robots and technology taking our job, we get small. What I want you to start doing is think how you can go big, how you can open up and say, what is this amazing technology? 1 billion people going to be coming online over the next 10 years. All these changes, this amazing technology, how can you step out in front of it? How can you be a part of something people will always need? How can you look at it through glasses where it's half full, where you can look at it through an abundance state rather than a scarcity state? Life is going to happen anyway. Technology is going to happen anyway. We can focus on what's wrong with it or how can it hurt us, and that's how we feel, that's how we act, and that's what we get. Or we can find a way to find abundance out of it, find joy out of it, find excitement about the future. And with that, you will find the path that will create wealth, will create joy. If you're one of my real estate students, everybody will always need real estate. If you're not in real estate, whatever it is you do, find the angle. If you're in the life coaching business, everybody will always need life coaching, high performance coaching. That's two of a million things you could be doing that are future-proof. But the biggest thing I wanted to share today, what really future-proofing your life means, is having the right state of mind, being the observer of your thoughts, and find a way to focus on the future, not dragging that anchor of your past behind you. What stands between us and where we want to go is never what we think it is. It's not the economy, it's not the president, it's not that somebody already dominated the health food industry or dominated Facebook advertising or dominated TV advertising or there's no room left. It's never that. It's always the story we tell ourselves on why we can't achieve that. And if I wanted to boil it down, I would just say, what is your biggest why? What's your biggest goal that you would love? If it was a year from now and we were sitting here, you're watching this and it was a year later and it was the best year of your life, what would be the biggest thing that would have changed in your life? From money, income, family, love, intimacy, being a better dad, mom, whatever that is, if you say to yourself, I would love that goal. Like I'd love to have my company doing $1 million a year in net profit so I could have freedom for my family. Then just say but. And whatever that but is usually your story. It's like, I would love my company to be doing $1 million yet, but I live in a smaller town and there's just not enough people to do it. Or the internet's so saturated, there's no room to advertise on Facebook anymore because everybody and their brother's on. Whatever that story is usually your story and that's the results you get. And that story is the thing standing between you and your next level. And I know people are watching right now going, oh, Dean, that's nice. You guys got money now, so it's easy. I don't have any money. I don't have a partner. I don't have any business experience. This economy's not right for what we do. And where there's that old saying, where there's a will, there's a way. If your story is that's what you'll continue to get. So what I would say is, if I was going to boil it down, is find what that story is. Now to you might be saying, Dean, you're saying it's a belief, it's reality. And maybe it's phase 3, but reality is nothing more than our perception of a situation, right? We all know that. You've read that about, you've watched it on Tom's show, everybody has said it, but maybe this is the first time you actually think about it, that reality you think is holding you back is really just the story. So there's two things I say, is go find somebody else with that same story. Like go look at your evolution, where you were on your couch, no money, right? Go look at Richard Branson's story. Look at Tony Robbins' story. Look at, John Paul DiGiorio or all the amazing books. I've read every book in there. That's amazing, the people that you've got to interview and meet. But read all those stories and realize that, first of all, that story you have is probably a lie, right? So if you can find proof, like leverage that it's a lie, that's one thing. But then the one that would get me is, I love aspiration. I love to look and say, look what you did, man. I want to get there. If he did it, I can do it. But sometimes you need the pain as well. So what I like to do is I like to take that story and think it's 5 years from now and think it's 10 years from now. And you're still in the same exact spot you are now. You're still worried. You still have envy. You still want more. You desire more. You want to take care of your family. You want to provide more. And think that story, those 2 sentences, is the thing holding you back. Do you really want to give that story that much power? And then think it's 10 years from now and that story is still done. And all of a sudden, for me, I think, am I going to let that story stop me? I brought my son with me today. Am I going to stop from giving him the opportunities that I didn't? I have 2 children. I'm not raising entitled kids. I want to give him massive opportunity. I don't want to leave him a trust fund. I'm going to leave him massive opportunity and train him. I'm not going to let any story get in the way of me being that dad. And if a story pops up that says, hey, I can't make baseball this week because of this, I'll change the damn story. I'll fist fight with that story. And I'll look at the pain I'll have if I keep that story. So I love the aspirational part of, this story will stop me from my new life, but I also are you gonna let that story screw you around for the next 5, 10, 15 years? I mean, man, we're gonna be 90 laying in a bed looking up before we know it. And do you wanna think I squeezed all I could out of life, or did I let just beliefs that other people gave me hold me back? I love this phrase, I've been saying it for about 6 months, success tax.
Yeah, I heard you say it earlier.
You know what I love about that? Somebody told to me, I didn't make it up, but I found my own version of it. It's like, we all want to make more money. We all want to feel significance, abundance, freedom, but most people aren't willing to pay it. So a great analogy I've been using is, if you're in a band and you play the guitar and you write songs, it would be amazing to be at Madison Square Garden, 50,000 people singing your song, you're out in the front of the stage. I mean, could anything be more euphoric, right? But everybody would want that, but who's willing to play the guitar when no one's watching till your hands hurt? Who's willing to pack up an old van that barely runs and drive to dive bar after dive bar playing where people are booing you. Most people aren't willing to put in the success tax to pay. And I said, what if you just visualized, whether you believe in God, whatever you believe in, that there's an auditor, a success auditor. And you go, okay, Ed started with lives in a ghetto. Okay, but he's still positive every day. Wow, he's still respectful. Wow, he tried that first business and his first partner screwed him over, took all the money and left. Wow, he still got up the next day, still inspiring other people, still not a jerk. Check. What if you got to check off 10 boxes before you get to the other side? Because once you get to the other side, it opens up like Ed's amazing backyard. There's not many people playing at that level. Like everybody thinks it's so competitive up here. It's not, because you guys are all fighting over crumbs, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but all I'm saying is when you said, like, put in the success tax and know you're going to fail, know it's going to go sideways, but it's worth it. Most of the time in our life, and I hate to say this, and maybe you've heard this before, maybe you know it to be true, and if it's the first time you hear it, I'm sorry to be the one to share it with you. Most of the time, our next level of life lives on the other side of our biggest obstacle. The thing we worry about, the thing we stress about, usually is the little wall that once we get past it, through it, break a hole in, on the other side is our next level. So with that in mind, think about that. Think of your next level of life, your income, your business, your success, right? You're on the Millionaire Success Habits podcast. That means you want another level of income, life, wealth, abundance, joy, right? That's why you're here. You could be doing a million other things. You're with me, and I don't take it lightly. That's why I want to deliver value. But if you're here, that means what you want that next level. Well, if it lives on the other side of the wall that's in front of you, the obstacle that's in front of you, if you have a plan B, in some cases, that means you didn't burn the boats. You want to take the island, burn the boats, so there's no other choice but for taking the island. If you want to conquer or accomplish that next level of life, goal, abundance, start that business, take your current business next level, finally stop listening to all the naysayers, tell your parents they're crazy, your friends they're crazy, all this, the BS that we have in life. If you want to do it, a plan B will screw you up because you go, well, if it doesn't work, I can go back. When you get to the wall and you start trying to climb it, I'm saying this wall is the obstacle between you and your next level of life. Obviously, it's a metaphor. But if you get to the wall and you get a little scratch on your hand, you can go, I can go to plan B. The boats are still in the harbor. Maybe taking this island's a little too much. No, what I want to shock you into thinking about today is if you've been dabbling for so long, if you've been desiring a next level, any area in your life, this is the Millionaire Success Habits podcast, but any area of your life that you're not having the breakthroughs, you're not having the success you want, the next level you want, that means most likely you have a comfortable plan B that's good enough. When you want to accomplish something big, something out of your comfort zone, that next level that you've been craving, then screw plan B. Make everything, all of your energy plan A. Burn the boats, knock the wall down, go through the pain, go through whatever it takes, and put all the focus is like, no, there's no plan B. This is my life.
You have this concept of protect your confidence. I've never heard anybody say it like that before. Yeah. Why is that so important?
Because I think, in all the big decisions you've had to make along your way, have you ever made a good decision when your confidence was down?
No.
Once. Like, can you say I walked in, my head was down, your physiology's changed, you're like a little nervous. Like, you just don't make good decisions when your confidence is down. And I don't think it's like we're either confident or not confident. I think it's like if confidence is 100%, if our confidence is 95%, we play smaller. I know with me, like the big opportunities come. If I'm not in that like space, I'm like, you know what, guys, let's hold, let's not, like I won't make smart decisions. So I think we have to do everything in our power to protect our confidence. What I have learned through the years, we all got in business for different reasons.
Yeah.
I wanted to be successful because I hated not being in control of my life as a kid. Mm-hmm. My parents were married 9 times. Between the two of them, I moved 20 times.
9 times.
9 times. So never stability. You know, get a new house, you got to leave. Go here, leave. Move in with grandma. So I think I hated the insecurity of my childhood, but it was my driving force. So thank you, God, the universe, whatever you believe in. Thank you for that, because it pushed me to go. Hey, I don't know about you. You and I hit it off in the first 3 minutes we were talking, but I'm not a control freak, but I don't want anybody to ever tell me how to live, how to dress, what to wear. If I want to wear orange sneakers today, I want to wear orange sneakers. I live where I want. I raise my kids the way I want. I don't get into peer pressure. I don't hang out with the Joneses or try to impress the Joneses. I just want to live my life. But I know that happened at a really young age. So backing up with your question is, that drove me. So sometimes you need pain to drive you, and then you start being successful, then you can go to aspirational. Now I want to be a better dad, be a better man, be a better human. But if you need pain to drive you, let it drive you.
On your journey, you're going to come across all new friends. You're going to lose old friends for a while. You're going to get people in your life who love you that try to suppress you, and they're going to want to hold you back. And here's the thing. You have a couple options in your life. You can let them dim your glow. You can let them turn down your fire, or you can realize it's not their fault. So let me just ask you again. I want to go back to this. Who in your life makes you feel bad about your dreams, your goals, your desires? Because those people are affecting you whether you realize it or not. When you have a desire for that next level, someone negative, someone trying to protect you, tells you you shouldn't, you can't, you might say, no, I'm not listening to them. But even if 5% of that rubs off on you, then you might make different choices. You might play a little bit smaller than you need to. Your confidence could be crushed just a little bit more than it needs to be crushed. You know, confidence is a weird thing. Confidence doesn't go from 0 to 100 in my eyes. Confidence, if your confidence is down 5%, you're screwed because you're going to play small. You're going to play safe. Do you think in today's world, do you think being good at something with most of your confidence is enough? Do you think being excellent with 90% of your confidence is enough? Hell no. You need to be freaking outstanding. You need to rock it with your confidence at 100%. And how can your confidence be at 100% if you're letting people in your life make you dim your glow, to lower your expectations, to play safer?
I don't think we should drive for money. I think we should drive to be a better version of ourselves. When money was no longer a worry for me, I dove into me. And I had been ignoring and tucking down a lot of crap for a lot of years. And I was surface level. I looked like the guy that had it all going on. My businesses were doing good. I have amazing children, company thriving. I live in the right neighborhood, have the right friends. Everything looked great, but it was all masked. And when money got out of the way, I was able to dig into me and do my own personal development and my own personal growth, and really find the things that I wanted to fix so I could become a better version. Because I know, if I'm pointing, because my son's over there, it doesn't matter what I tell him as a parent. And if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. I could teach him everything. I give him lessons. We do Sunday meetings. I could teach him lessons every day. He's gonna become who I am, not what I say. And I'm gonna lead by example. And I wanna be a better version of me. And money's allowed that. Money has not made me evil or done bad things. It's allowed me to not worry about that part so I could focus on me. And simultaneously, the more I focused on me, the more I wanted to take my money and do better for other people. I mean, I heard somebody say once when they said they think money's evil, they said, you haven't made enough and you haven't given enough away yet to see that it's not. I'm trying to be the most authentic version of myself that exists. Like, I don't ever want somebody, and you know this too, how many times, because you've had amazing guests, dude. The lineup you've had is incredible. But every once in a while, it's not so good to meet your heroes. And I don't mean like you meet them, and not that they're your hero and you idolize them, but you're like, man, that guy's a badass, or that woman, she's incredible. And then you're in the kitchen with them for 10 minutes, you're like, wow. Like, I don't ever want that. I want someone to say, I saw Dean on video, and then I met him, and then I saw him in a tight situation, and I saw him with his kids, all the same guy. And I think that's where life, like I just want to be the same guy in all areas. And I think even though I'm working on myself, it comes through on video and my sales go up. How many people do you know, maybe even you, have a job that just kills you? It's draining your energy, you hate going there. Maybe even a company that you started that you thought was going to be exciting, but it's just robbing the life out of you. Or even school, maybe you're in college or even high school, and it just, every moment of it is frustrating. And here's what we do. We think to ourselves, when I get out of this job and I start my own company, then I'm going to be fired up. Then I'm going to be excited. Then I'm going to take my life to the next level. When I get out of school, I'm going to do it. When I throw this company away and I start the new company, and guess what? That's the worst thinking. That type of thinking will keep you exactly where you are. So let me just give you an example. I don't know if you know this about me, but when I was in my teens and my 20s, I worked on cars every single day of my life. I had a collision repair shop. I got wrecked cars and people brought them in and I fixed them. I sucked fumes every day. I had dirt under my nails. Every night I was literally scraping under my nails trying to get piles of dirt out. I changed motors. I rebuilt carburetors. I mean, the worst thing I hated was painting the cars because I got such a headache. Even though we had good ventilation, I'd get such a headache from the fumes. But that's what I did. Did I love painting cars? No. I absolutely despised it. I hated every bit of it. But I was lucky enough to realize that how you do any job is how you do every job. And what I had to do was find things that were exciting in that job because I knew it was the stepping stone. So here's what I believe. So many people hate what they do, their lack of energy. When you don't like something, you're not enthusiastic, you're not excited, you're not nice to people. So you're just thinking, I'm going to get in this groove, but then something's going to snap, and then all of a sudden I'm going to be amazing, I'm going to be excited, I'm going to find that new job, that new career. No, you have to start now. So what you have to do, like I did with the collision shop, is you have to find a way for that dull job, that thing that robs your energy now, to be exciting. Yes, you do. As hard as that sounds, do it to the best of your ability. And guess what? Opportunity comes along in places you won't even realize that there's an opportunity for you. Example. So I'm in the car business, hating it, but I found a way to be enthusiastic because what I liked is I liked the fact that a car would come in wrecked. I could visualize it looking perfect again and visualize how excited the person would be to get their car back to new. So when I was working on cars, I didn't think, oh, I got Bondo on my fingertips, paint on my nails, I got a headache from the fumes, I'm dirty, it's sweaty. If I thought about that, everything would have sucked. But what I thought about was how excited the person's going to be when they see their car back to normal. And I found a way to be enthusiastic and excited. If you asked anybody, they'd be like, that guy loves collision work. It's not true. I wasn't lying. I found a way to manipulate myself. So in that instance, my first big real estate deal, I did several with no money down, worked my butt off to get it done. But my first big real estate deal that after years was the first deal I did over $1 million on, true story, in my little town in upstate New York, a town called Marlboro, New York. And guess who I did the deal with? Somebody who came into the collision shop and I did work on their car, lent me the money. Because I was so enthusiastic, so excited, such in a good mood. The guy's like, how do you have so much energy? How are you so excited? I said, well, this is just a stepping stone for me. I'm working on real estate deals. I've done a few and working on this bigger one. He's like, well, why aren't you doing the bigger one? I'm like, I'm trying to put the money together, but I'll get it. I know I'll make it. That guy lent me $80,000 just like that. And he made a ton of money for it. I mean, I was so appreciative of the loan he gave me. I did everything in my power to make sure that deal crushed it. I give you $1 million racehorse. And this is the horse that's going to run and win the Kentucky Derby and win the Preakness or whatever race it would be to make a lot of money. And you had a stable and you had this horse. How would you treat it? Would you encourage the horse? Would you pet it in a really nice way, or would you smack it? Right? Would you be rude to it? Would you give it love? How would you feed $1 million racehorse? Would you give it junk food? Would you give it Fritos and soda and feed it lots of beer and alcohol? Or do you think you'd feed it like whole grains if that's what a horse eats? I'm not great with horses, but if whatever horse it would, you find organic, great food. This is $1 million racehorse now, right? This isn't just some horse. This is $1 million racehorse. So would you feed it the best grains, organic, take care of it? Here's another thing. Would you help it get good sleep, or would you wake it up and not have it sleep good and make it uncomfortable? Would you want it to get its rest so it could heal? Would you let it just sit in the barn, or would you take it out and exercise and keep it healthy? Now, you don't have to know anything about horses. I'm just saying, I gave you $1 million racehorse. How would you treat it? Now, I asked that question because that's a horse and it's hypothetical, and you're probably like, what the heck are you talking about horses, Dean? I thought this was the Millionaire Success Habits podcast and Millionaire Success Habits training. What are you talking about a horse for? Because I believe we, in so many cases, would treat $1 million racehorse better than we treat ourselves. You are your $1 million racehorse. You are the only one that can take you across the finish line. You are the only one that wins the race. We aren't going to be left money by an uncle, or the government's not going to just hand out tens of millions of dollars to us for doing nothing. We're not going to stumble upon an invention by accident and become rich overnight. In most cases, maybe you hit the lotto, maybe you have an uncle, maybe you stumble on an invention, but in most cases, we got to find the grit. We got to find the determination. We got to find the passion. We have to find the desire to get out there and make it happen. True or false? I mean, seriously, true or false? So, if you would treat $1 million racehorse that way, then why the hell don't you treat yourself that way? No matter what you're doing, even if you hate it, realize it's temporary, and be amazing at it. I sat down with John Paul DiGiorio, who started Tequila, Patron, and Sassoon, and he said he hated.
His name's come to me a couple times this week. Go
yeah,
ahead.
he said he hated when he had a janitorial job when he was a kid. But he said, man, it was my job. I cleaned the boss came to him and said, man, I lifted up the desk. You cleaned under the desk. He's like, the guy thought I loved the job. I hated it. I just did it the best. And I realized one of my first real estate deal did over $1 million. True story. I was fixing a guy's car, and I'm in the collision shop. I'm gonna be completely transparent. I hated the collision shop. I ended up being the only painter because I got good at it. So every night when everybody left, I'd paint for 3 hours. The ventilation wasn't good. I'd have headaches. I hated every inch of it, but you'd never know. If you came in, you'd be like, that guy loves being in the collision shop. I knew it was temporary because don't think I'm just gonna schlub through this job and then my magic will come. You'll be screwed. You'll stay there because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I'm literally in the collision shop. I have this guy, he comes down, he's like, my God, my car looks great, thank you so much. We get talking, come kind of friends really quick, and he says, what are you up to? I'm like, well, I'm doing this, but I'm working on my day job. My night job is real estate. I'm gonna take real estate to a whole nother level. He's like, what do you got going on? At that time, I was working on a deal for $180,000 to buy an old vineyard. Okay. And I didn't have the money. I scraped up every credit card I had. I came up with like 45 grand. The seller agreed to sell it to me for half down and half in 2 years. I needed 45 grand. I tell this guy the story. I said, but I'm gonna get it. He goes, yeah, you're gonna get it because I'm going home to get it for you.
Oh my gosh.
Now, what if I was like, I hate collision. Yeah, here's your keys.
Yeah.
I made $1 million on that deal. It was the first one ever, documented.
Awesome.
I sold that property. I killed it on that property. Killed it.
What a great
all the
story.
All the neighbors didn't want me to build on the property, and I was fighting them. And then I realized, wow, what if I sell it to them? So I sold them all a piece around, and I crushed it. I killed it. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
So no matter what you're doing, find a way to be enthusiastic, knowing that maybe the universe, God, whatever you believe in, is putting you through your trial run to deserve that. Out of all my years of doing this and being lucky to sell, I wasn't a scientist of selling. I was just I had an innate ability to sell through that passion. And then you get your 10,000 hours in and all of a sudden it becomes good, right? Yeah. So on the job training,
of course,
right?
Of course.
But when I look back, and if I go off in an area that you want to reel me back in, reel it back in, but people buy from you, will love you, will learn from you, will give you a promotion when they feel understood. Not when they understand you. And that was one of the biggest lessons ever. When you watch someone who is so full of knowledge, so full of wisdom, and wants to sell their product, sell themselves, get the raise, close the deal at the boardroom, they always want to just exude who they are, their credentials, what they have, and how they could solve the problem. And that will get you so far. Like, being great at sharing who you are will get you out of Egypt. Understand how people feel and letting them feel understood will get you to the promised land, right? So when you go to an audience or you're talking to close a deal, most people want to share. Most of the time you just need to be quiet and find what's going on in that person's life. Be an expert at the temporary state of mind. Like, understand what they're going through at that minute and let them feel understood. When you let people feel understood, when someone's watching you, and you do an amazing job, dude. I've been watching you forever, and I love what you do. But when someone watches you and go, man, that guy gets me. He understands where I'm going at. He understands my struggles. He understands where I want to go. That's someone I can hitch my cart to, rather than someone who's got great credentials and tells you can go, I understand that person, but I don't think he understands where I'm at. Right. And so the two things when it comes to an infomercial, comes to anything with persuasion, the two things I always tell myself is, how do I make sure that person feels understood? And secondly, how do I enter a conversation going on in their mind, not mine? You know, when you were on your sister's couch, you had different struggles, right?
Absolutely,
now I come to Doheny Drive in LA, you're in a completely different world, a completely different space, flying to the White House and all this stuff that you got going on. The conversations in your head have changed dramatically from when you were on your sister's couch to now.
Yeah.
So what happens, and I've watched this with marketers and people in business, as they evolve, they hit a certain, you remember that pain, that passion, the desire for more. I mean, you could probably close your eyes right now and remember that desire and thinking, am I ever going to make it? And even a little bit of envy for maybe some of your buddies who made it, or a little jealousy. Doesn't mean you wished ill thoughts on them, but it's like, damn it, they made it. I don't have it. What if I never get it? If you remember that pain, if you remember that process, you remember that thoughts, you will always serve anybody watching who needs that. But what happens to some people is as they evolve and you're going to join the country club, maybe you're going to get married,
Right.
you're going to move to the suburbs. Now you got an accountant and you got 2 assistants, and now should I hire a
private
sales
jets,
team?
yeah.
Got a private jet, and then is the pilot going to be late? And then you're like, I got a Facebook team. Should I outsource the Facebook
Right.
marketing? And all of a sudden, your conversations change. You get to do an interview, or you pitch on camera, or you do an infomercial, and all of a sudden you're having conversations in your head, and your audience feels disconnected.
Yeah.
And you don't even know why. You're like, what did I miss? Because now you're asking questions of a completely different group because you've evolved. So the 2 things, again, I always go back to, even before I turn the camera on, before I go on stage, before I do an infomercial, I said, people buy from you, love you, adore you, will learn from you if they feel understood. And I want to enter conversations going on in their heads, not mine. Ever since that journey, and starting even before that with More Than Millions, I realized that people are searching, like, and again, I digress sometimes, but everybody's in a vehicle, like your wealth creation vehicle, whether that's a job you don't like, or a job you do like, or a business you started, or a business that's crushing, or business that's not doing great. You have this vehicle. And when this vehicle's not working, we're looking on the road of all the other shiny cars. And I was like, oh man, I tried selling stuff on Amazon. That's not working. I'm going to go in the car business, the real estate business. I'm going to go in the speaking business, the nutrition business, the supplement. And you're looking for another car to jump in. And I realized people jump from car to car to car their whole life, looking for satiation, looking for satisfaction, looking to make more money. And I got to see it firsthand, Tom, because I was in the business of teaching people how to make money with real estate. And when they would call into customer service, when they would send in for a refund, or I'd see them at an event, they never said, ever, I tried your real estate stuff, it sucks. Never. We used to send surveys to listen and go, how come you're not making money yet? Is it, the time, effort, energy, Dean's training sucks? 1% would pick the training sucks. And what I realized over all these years is that, and the reason I wrote Millionaire Success Habits, is you could literally give someone a business on how to sell $20 bills for $5, and they'd screw it up because of their beliefs, because of the fear of rejection, because the fear of selling, because of the fear of marketing, because other people told them they couldn't, or they feel they need certain criteria, they need initials at the end of their name, like they need all these things. And at the end of the day, what you wrote, your impact theory, you call them beliefs?
Yeah.
Impact theory beliefs. It's kind of the same beliefs that are in my book, but it's also the same beliefs that are in 3/4 of the books that you have in your shelf now, and the incredible people you've interviewed. And I just saw that if we can give people, if we can go upstream, if you can stop jumping from vehicle to vehicle, the vehicle you're in might be the right vehicle, but you don't have the right habits or the right beliefs or the right rules, whatever you want to call it. My book's Habits, so I call them habits. But it's really the foundation for success so you can overcome the obstacles. You don't let negative people in your life steer you in different directions. It doesn't, even people will ask me about productivity. People say, how do you get so much done? How do you run a business and still coach Little League and baseball and softball? How do you do all those things? It's because of just simple success habits. Like, I just wrote something on this recently. I said, you have to treat your decisions for productivity like binary thinking, which is X's and O's, black or white, yes or no. Is this moving me toward a better version of myself, a wealthier version, a happier version, or is it not? Successful people this doesn't serve that better version of me, I'm not doing it, right? So there's all these little rules. And I think, and I know this, even when I met with Branson, I think people meet someone who's successful, people meet you, and they're like, okay, what is it? Like there's this little, okay, nobody's looking. Wah, and it lights up, and here it is, right? And it's not the big thing. Like even when I was sailing with Branson, I'm waiting, I wanted to say to him, so what is it? But it's not. When I get done talking to him for 3 hours, he's got the same habits that you have, the same rules that you have written down on that plaque that's amazing. In my opinion, it's never the big things. It's all the little changes you can make in your life, and none of them are dramatic at each level. It's like just following these little principles that have worked for so many years, and you start putting them in your life, and all of a sudden decisions start going easier. The money starts to change. The business starts to do good. The thoughts in your head start to project a bigger future rather than negativity. I think it's the buildup of the habits or beliefs.
So David Kekage is a friend of a friend, really, but I've met him a couple times. Great guy. And he was paralyzed from the neck down. A guy that was into health and fitness and taking care of his body.
And living in a wheelchair, not being able to do anything for himself, he's thrived on a whole new level and does so much for innovating and helping other people with the same circumstances. But the reason I'm sharing this is because he did 30 Kekage credos to live by if you want to live a joyful life. And this is somebody in a wheelchair now. Remember the obstacles he has every single day when he wakes up. Can barely swallow on his own. I mean, think about that, right? So one of his credos is, if you live life the hard way, it's easy. And if you live life the easy way, it's hard. And here's what I equate that to. We have to pick our pain. Think about that. Now, let's just use a silly analogy. Is working out easy? No, it's a pain in the butt. Going to the gym, it might be hard. It's painful, right? But not exercising and not working out, will that be painful someday in your life? Will it be that you're out of shape and you get heart failure? Will it be out of shape and you're overweight and get diabetes? Will it be out of shape that you don't have muscle tone and you break a hip someday? I mean, you might be young, not thinking about that now, but living the easy way of no working out, can that be more painful? Absolutely. What about eating healthy? Can it be painful to eat the right food and not choose the greasy fried food and not get up and have a coffee and a donut and try to have green juices and live green veggies and eat lean protein and do those things? Is that a pain? Yeah. And it's kind of hard. It's the hard way. It's the hard way, but it gives you an easy life. So you're full of abundance, joy. You feel healthy. You want to thrive. You can run. If you have kids, you can move, or when you have kids someday, or you can live to see your great-grandchildren, right? So living the hard way, meaning do the right thing, eat the right food, work out, might be a little hard, but that's the path to an easy life. If you want to live the easy way now and not work out and eat terrible food, maybe it's temporarily easy, but will that give you long-term health and satisfaction? And even if you make the money without your health, are you really wealthy? Heck no, right? But think about that also with your success. This is the Millionaire Success Habits podcast. But the foundation for success is if I gave you the tools to make money, but didn't share with you that you should be fulfilled and satisfied and healthy, then I'm just a fraud. Because it all ties together. If you got money out of the way today, the next thing you would be worried about or thinking about is, how do you live the best version of you? How do you be the best mom, dad, son, brother, cousin, spouse, right? So I want you to think about it when it comes to your next level of income, next level of long-term wealth, or starting a side business. The easy way is hard in the long run. The easy way is to settle for the job that you're in that's killing you. The easy way is to look for a magic money machine online and not spend time with your habits. The easy way is hope that someone does it for you. The easy way is to hope the government changes the rules and more money comes to you. That's all the easy way. And what do? You sit around and hope for years and years and years, and then you look back at the end of your life and time is gone. You look back at the end of your life and you go, I wish I would have gone after it harder in the beginning. So the hard way may be listening to podcasts like this, reading books like Millionaire Success Habits and all the other books that come from people that are actually doing it, or get enrolled in courses, or get involved in a mastermind, or dig deep to find the research to know if you're in the right path, if you're in a future-proof industry or not. Yeah, that might be a little harder now. It might be harder now to wake up when everybody in your family tells you you're insane, when your friends and relatives say you should be happy with the life you have, or people tell you don't have enough money, you don't have the right education, you don't live in the right area, you don't have the right pedigree, you didn't get the right degree. People can all tell you that. And it's hard to overcome them. It's hard to overcome getting up and going for it. It's hard to overcome procrastination. It's hard to overcome getting sucked into social media. Go check your bank account and 2 hours go by going down rabbit holes of stupid things. That's hard. It's hard if you're in a relationship and the other person thinks that you should be strict and steady in your job and do the right thing and follow the rules. It's hard to step out of the line when 98% of the world listen to somebody else. They live a mediocre life. They live an okay life. Do you want to live an okay life? Or do you want to live an outstanding life? Do you want to live a good life? How's your relationship? Good. How's your health? Good. How's your income? Good. How's your job? Good. Do you want to live good? Or do you want to live excellence? Do you want to live great? Do you want to live an outstanding life? If we do, then David Kekage has it right. The Kekage credo that if you want to live the hard way now gives you the easy life. The easy way now gives you the hard life.
I think we live in a shallow world. I think shallow meaning we're, especially the new generation who grew up going through a stream, right? So what used to be hours went to minutes and now it's seconds, right? If something doesn't catch you in a second. And I feel like
a lot of people want that next level, which is great. Everybody should, but we dabble in each one and we don't see enough spark, excitement, or light, so we back out and go to the next one. It's like they're looking for the magic money machine and they're in one car and they're like, this car might work. Oh, that car looks good. And then we jump out in the next one and we jump out in the next one. So I would say, even though, I'm 50 this year, so I've had like different lives, I went deep on all of them. Everybody watching, we suffer on all different levels of suffering. Some people suffer on a high level. Some people suffer because is the job going to get done? Is the deal going to come through? Like we have these moments of suffering, no matter if it's 5 minutes of suffering or an hour of suffering or months of suffering. Right. Some people lose a relationship and they suffer for years. Some people have a partner take their money. They suffer for years and they're stuck in that. And if you can limit the time you suffer, the more you can work on the solutions to better your life. People stuck in suffering are stuck forever. And we know, right now I'm saying it, and you're thinking of friends that you have that are stuck. They went, found some suffering, and they just crippled.
Or moments where I was suffering and I didn't let go of it.
You can't let go of it, right?
Or I held on to it for too long and it hurt me.
Right, and if you hold on to it, there's not enough energy or focus to keep moving forward. That's when you stall, right?
Yeah.
So I've been on this obsession, and literally Tony Robbins flew out. Him and I got really close. He flew out, and him and I had lunch about 9 months ago, and he's on the same thing of like eliminating like complete suffering gone. Like instead of it hours or weeks, it's moments that you catch it. If I immediately when I wake up, I can't check my phone. In fact, I put it on airplane mode and I move it. I got that from Ariana Huffington, who's amazing. And she's like, is your phone still by your bed? She goes, airplane mode on the other side of the room, So that, and then I just know so many people roll over and grab their phone, and to me that's like Russian roulette. You put a bullet in the gun and you spin it. It's like, what if the email says the deal didn't happen, numbers are down, life's not working out? And immediately for me, it's like you open up and this little box is gonna dictate the first couple hours or maybe the whole day by what you see. So I just won't look at my phone when I first wake up. But when I first open my eyes, this is all, and I like doing things quick for me because I want to get to the gym because it's the only time of day I'll go. If I try to wait till the afternoon, it doesn't work for me. So as soon as I wake up, I immediately try to think of something I'm grateful for, which everybody knows that and thinks about it. But I play this game with myself on how far I can lower the bar, meaning I tried to do a gratitude journal about 3 years ago. And after about 5 weeks, I ran out of stuff to say. I'm like, I already wrote my kids and this and life. Like, what did I put in here? Like, I don't. And then I was like, wow, 150,000 people die every single day. You can Google it, that's the number. It's like, some days I wake up and I'm just like, I'm here, awesome. And I feel that silly little thing like I'm here. Or I'll be like, oh my God, the sheets feel softer than they've ever felt. And I'll literally think to myself, these sheets are really good. Like, what, a third of the world sleeps on a dirt floor? And I have sheets and an amazing bed and look at the view I have. And that's enough, just because the way I look is I'm just tweaking my brain enough to be in a grateful place. It doesn't have to be this, for me, and you guys might have better practices. I'm not talking about a half-hour gratitude meditation. I just need one little thing, or I pick up a book. If I'm reading one of the books that you have on the shelf, I'll just pick 3 sentences and read something empowering, and I'll get that state of mind for my brain. And then I think about one win I had the day before. Because I know as entrepreneurs, as somebody searching for success, we never give ourselves credit. We never treat a friend the way we treat ourselves. It's like, I know I've had days I've gone till 10 o'clock at night and go, man, I got nothing done today. It was the biggest lie. Like, we beat ourselves up. We're like these racehorses. We wouldn't even treat a racehorse that we owned as bad as we treat ourselves, right? So I wake up and I'll do a quick little gratitude, and they'll say, what was one win yesterday that I accomplished? And I'm like, wow, you did do that yesterday. And then I'll think of one win I want to do that day. Like, what, I'm gonna need a million things done today, but what's a must today that would be a great win? And then for me, then I immediately go downstairs in my house and I drink, I felt like I fed my mind, and then I want to feed my body. So for me, I've been doing the same drink forever. I do apple cider vinegar, lemon, MCT oil, a scoop of green powder, and mix that up, and I down that, and then I immediately got to go to the gym. If you want more success, get bigger problems.
It's so true.
As simple as that sounds, and like, oh, Dean, that was so enlightening. No, it is. Because this is simple, the lowest form. Like, I've just started realizing I want bigger problems, because I remember the stress of my first real estate deal where I made probably $5,000, right? Worked my ass off, was stressing, worried. The town didn't want to give me a permit, and then the seller was falling through, and I was running out of money. It was so stressful. And then I remember, a couple months ago, I signed a $18 million deal. And there was the same exact amount of stress. It doesn't matter. And again, I say that I said I judge myself. I don't ever want to come across pretentious or saying, "Oh, look at me with my $18 million deal." I don't mean that. I just want you to know that the stress you feel to pay your bills or get ahead, or it's the same stress whether you're making 10, 100, 10 million, or 100 million a year. It feels the same. So if it feels the same, then why not avoid lower end problems so you can spend time solving bigger ones? I mean, I'm in a phase of my life. I'm not shitting you. If I order medium rare steak at a restaurant and they bring me well done chicken, I just eat it.
So do I.
Who gives a shit?
So do I. I'm the same way. It's
like somebody cuts me off in traffic and then flips me off. I'm like, wow, they need bigger problems. Traffic is bugging you that much, you'll never be successful. So know that. If you're annoyed because a friend doesn't ask you to go to the mall, or someone cut you off in traffic, or you think a friend offended you, or you think a coworker's being a little rude, then you're screwed because you're worrying about the wrong things. Spend that energy on solving big problems and you accomplish big things.
There's a part actually that I wanted to go over in your book called the 7 levels deep. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And this is an exercise that you do, right? And what is this exercise for? And how does it go?
Okay, so 7 levels deep was probably the biggest impact, the biggest thing in the impact of my life ever.
Really?
Yeah, one day. So I hired a guy named Joe Stump. Do you know Joe Stump?
No.
Great guy. He's in the marketing world, but I hired him because I want more engagement with my students. So it's all about, if you can get somebody to digest some of your book, if somebody will read 30 pages of your book, they'll read the whole book. But how do you get them to the first 30 pages? So I'm always obsessing and trying to create ethical bribes, whatever I can do to get you to take action, right? We know books work. It's the books and the action. So anyway, so Joe comes in and I said, I want to do whatever I can. And he said, have you ever done the 7 levels deep? I don't know where he got it from. This is probably about 8 years ago. She was 2, so about 8 years ago. And I said, well, if it's good, just give it to me. Right. I'll take it. I'll take it. And he's like, I want to go through it with you. I'm like, listen. And I paid Joe $10,000 for half a day of consulting at the time. And he's like, I said, I don't want to go through. I just want it. He goes, I won't give it to you unless you do it. So we sit there, and what the 7 levels deep is finding, everybody wants to know your purpose and what's this meaning of life and what's my why and all that. I get it, and it's kind of played out. But I don't know if anything really gets to the heart of it as simple as this. So what it basically was, he's like, why would you give me $10,000 for half a day? And I said, because I want to create a company that stands out from everybody else. I want to engage more students, change more lives. And he basically said to me, that's a really great answer. So I asked you why I'm here. And you said you want to engage more students and get more people to change their lives. So why is it important for you to engage more students and change people's lives? And I remember saying, there's a lot of people in this industry that shouldn't be here, and there's some great people. I want to help rise all boats of the good and push the rest out. I want to leave a legacy for my kids. So he said, okay, I asked you why you paid me $10,000. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. And he's like, you did this. You said you wanted to stand out and you wanted to leave a legacy. So why is it important to leave a legacy? And the whole point is asking the previous question 7 times. I took that day. By the time I got to the 3rd question, what happens is when there was 3 questions left, I should say, he asked me 4 times, it switched from my head to my heart. And I felt my physiology change. I felt my emotions change. I felt like tears welling up. And when he asked me, and I don't even remember what the 4th thing I said, but the 3rd thing I said was, I never want to go backwards. And he got me thinking about things I haven't thought about in years. Wow. I didn't like being the kid with hand-me-downs, and I'd make my parents drop me off down the street with their junky car, and I'd go to lunch. And this is not a poor me. My life was designed to be exactly the way it was, or I wouldn't be the man or the father I am today. But there was days I'd go to school without lunch money, and I just tell my buddies I'm not hungry because we didn't have a buck, right? So I never want to go back there. And I felt that emotion, and it hit me so hard. I'm like, that's what it is. And he's like, well, there's 2 more left. So he said, Dean, why is it important that you never go backwards? And I'm like, God, I don't know. And it hit me, and I thought, my kids, I just want to give them options. I don't want to raise entitled kids or brats, but I want to give them options that I didn't have. And I'm like, that's it. So he's like, well, that's not really it, 'cause it's 7. It's not 9. It's not 5. It's 7 levels deep. And by now I'm crying because I'm thinking about my kids, literally. And I got half my staff there, and I'm like just weeping. And it came to me. He said, why is that important? And it just hit me. And I never knew why I worked so hard since I was cutting firewood in high school and did all this stuff. I said, I need to be in control of my life. And these emotions flooded in. Everybody's got their thing, right? But for me, and I'm saying this because I want you at home to be, or when you're watching this, listen to this. I realized that my parents were married 9 times when I was a kid. So I moved 20 times by the time I was 19. Different stepbrothers, stepsisters.
Both parents were married.
5 for my dad, 5 for my mom, 4 for my dad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's crazy. Always moving, like military kids. know what that feels like, right? So I'd be in a cul-de-sac with a new stepdad, stepbrother, stepsisters, have the bike, come home one day, and my mom's like, we're moving again. And then I move in with my dad, move in with my grandmother. So I had this crazy hopscotch my whole childhood.
Certainty.
There was no certainty. So what I realized at that moment, literally, I'm bawling loose. I mean, like literally crying. It's like, I don't want anybody to ever tell me when to move, how to dress, how to live, how to work, how I'm going to raise my kids. It's definitely not going to kiss somebody's ass for money. Right. And I realized at that moment, my why was I don't want to be a control freak. I just want to be in control. When I was 27, I retired both my parents. I stopped worrying about them. I took care of my grandmother. I take care of some, so I got those problems out of the way. And when I anchored that in, and you watching at home, it's like, if you think you're watching this because you want to be an entrepreneur, or you already are. If you're watching this, you've already had great success in your life. You want that next level, or maybe it's income, or better health, or better diet, or better physiology, whatever it is you want. So many times we think it's because I want to get out of that job. I want this freedom. I just want more money. I want to take the better vacations. And it's 7 times deeper than that. And when you find that, and the reason I know this, not only because it wasn't just transformational to me, is I did live events in Las Vegas for 6 years straight. Every single month, there was 400 people in the room that paid $20,000 to go to
real estate events, right?
Real estate events. So about 5.5 years I did them every month in Las Vegas. So once a month I'd fly in, and that was like the highest level. And every single month I'd pick somebody out of the audience, and I'd say, come on up, let's do this 7 levels deep. Like, I got it, man. I know what it is. And I'm like, okay, so like, I'm gonna give you a quick example. I won't beat this up, but this is so important because when you feel fatigued, when you want to say no, when you don't want to go to the gym, when you don't want to make that sales call, when you don't want to get your funnel working, when you don't want to start new, when you don't want to say no to someone you should say no to, or say yes to someone else you should say yes to, literally for me still, I fall back on my why. And when I think of my kids and going backwards and being in control, I could push through anything. Nothing will stop me. A bad day. I don't know what it's like to be sick because my mind, I can program my brain to just power through because I focus foundationally on this why.
Right.
So I remember this guy, he was awesome. This big dude, he had dreadlocks. He was like 6'7". I mean, 6'5". He was huge. This awesome dude. He comes up. He's like, man, like pick me up. He gives me this big hug. He's like, so I said, why are you here? He's like, I already know, dude. You're not going to get 7 levels on me. You're not gonna. I've already done the exercise. He says, I'm here because in my neighborhood, there's no dads. There's not enough dads in my neighborhood. I grew up without a dad. These kids need dads. So I'm making money in real estate, and I'm starting this youth group. I already had dad. We get dads together, and we go spend these days. He had this amazing story, and I melted on the first one. And I said, well, why is that important? He goes, dude, what do you mean, why is that important to you? Of course it's important. And he's laughing, he's joking, and he gives me another reason. I want more money because I want to build a building for it. But I could tell he was still in his head. He gets to number 2 or 1, and everything changed on him. He gets small, and he starts crying. I mean, like uncontrollable crying. And he gets to his number 1. He's like, my mom raised a good boy, but when she died 9 years ago, I was a drug addict. And she never saw the man she created. And she said, I'm showing her in heaven what a man I'm saying it right now. I got physical good. Yeah. He said that, and he said, I'll never stop now. I'll never stop. And again, we all have our own reasons for doing stuff, but when you get to the heart of why you're watching, why you do what you do, it's so much deeper than what you think. And I forget sometimes. I hope I don't sit here and seem like I got my life all figured out. I've been blessed to have I've had more blessings in my life than I ever could imagine. If somebody would have told me at 25, this is where I'd be, I'd say impossible. So I appreciate my blessings, but I'm not perfect at all this stuff, but when I practice these habits, when I think through this, when I recognize my why, the days that I'm off track, the days I think I bit off more than I can chew, or the days where I feel like I plateaued, when I go back to that why, it's like game over. You're not getting in my way. Nothing is. My stepdad, who has been my stepdad since I was 9 years old, so I've known him for 41 years. He was my mom's high school sweetheart. They went to the prom together, and then he went away to the Army. She married my dad, and then they got back together. Great guy. 2 days ago, he had a stroke in the middle of the night. Kind of haven't slept much since. Had a stroke, and then the next day he had a heart attack. And he's not doing so great, and I've been spending a lot of time with him. And I see him sitting. He can't talk because of the stroke. And I see him looking around and looking at his family and looking at my mom and his kids. And I just know it's like you've heard so many times in the book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. You know that Covey talks about coming to the end of your life and literally being in the hospital and hearing the buttons and the beeps and hearing people talk about you. When you look, who do you want to see? Who do you want to be there? And what do you want them to be saying about you? Think about that. Now, I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm just in this space for me personally. But here's what I know is how long are you going to put off what you crave so bad? If you're watching a Millionaire Success Habits or listening to a Millionaire Success Habits podcast, you want another level of life. But there's things in your life that right now you should be saying no to. Right now, you should be saying yes to and going after. But we think we have all this time. Listen, my stepdad, he's young. He's only 76 years old. I bet to say, looking through his eyes, that he just felt like he'd have forever. Listen, today, I'm more personal in the podcast than I am in any other place. Today, I broke down and cried in a way I haven't in a really long time. I'm parking so I can talk here. I broke down today and I cried really hard. I cried because some of it was just looking through his eyes and I could see the sadness of wow, is this it? Is it over? And I'd love for you to just take a moment and think about if this was the end of your life, what should you be saying no to right this second? What should you be saying yes to right this second? Here's what I know. People who say money can't buy happiness or money doesn't make you happy, to me, you haven't made enough and you haven't given enough away. So get rid of that money is evil thing. That's just foolish. I'm blessed to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it because I got money out of the way. That's great. So you might be saying, good for you, Dean, but I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, if money is important, that next level is important so you can pay for speed, so you can pay for freedom, so you can pay for control of your life, then freaking go for it. But find the balance. Find out why you're doing it right now. What does success mean to you? You know what it means to me in my life right now is that I get to do what I want when I want with my kids. They're 9 and 11. They're growing so fast, I can't slow it down. So I want to coach Little League. I want to coach softball. I want to go to every game. But here's what I know. I've even slacked. And you know, I love doing this training. I love sharing with you because if I'm not congruent, if I don't share a message that I actually live, then I'm kind of full of shit, for lack of a better word. I'm just someone babbling. You're not here because you just want to hear someone talk. You want to hear someone who's been through it, who can admit their flaws. I love saying this and love talking about it because I screw this up sometimes. I want to tell you something. This is really personal. Today, at 4 o'clock, my daughter, she's 11, she pitches, she's a great pitcher, she made the all-star team, but today they're going to the local high school team that's really good, Arcadia High School. And I got them tickets, I got them all set up, but I had work to do, so I was gonna let them go, and all her friends. And screw that. Because of what I'm going through with Lenny and seeing that, what am I gonna get some more emails done, work on my next $1 million? I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just saying, what am I gonna do? Or when I'm on my deathbed, am I gonna say, I wish I answered more emails, or I wish I went to that softball game with my daughter and watched her face when she saw high school girls play? Not even a question. Then at 6:30, the game's at 4, at 6:30, I missed my son's last 2 practices because I was really busy. But the 2 before that, I've been coaching him since he was 4 years old. Coaching, assistant coach, glove on, out there, getting dirty. But I have to tell you, this last year, I've kind of let the coaches coach, and I sat back on the bench and answered emails and got work done. I figured it was a great place to get 2 hours worth of work done while my son was out there. And I realized today, screw that. You see what's right here in my passenger seat? That's my baseball glove. Today, there's shorts. Look, I got a pair of shorts in the back seat. I'm going to change it in the car. And today, I'm getting dirty again. I'm going back and practicing with my son again today. Screw that. When I'm where Lenny, my stepdad's name is Lenny, where I'm where Lenny is, I'm not going to be saying, boy, thank God all those baseball practices after the age of 9, I got all those emails done. No, screw that. I'm going to say I was on the field looking at my son in the eye, him watching me be intent, be in the moment, live in the now. Love what you provide people so much that you feel like it's a disservice not to get them to say yes. Did you hear what I said? Love your product so much and make it so perfect that you feel you're doing people a disservice if they don't say yes. If I don't get you to buy my book, Millionaire Success Habits, I'm doing you a disservice. If I don't get you to listen to my podcasts on a weekly basis, if I don't get you to watch my weekly wisdoms, I'm doing you a disservice. So I will do everything in my power to get you to say yes. So that's step 1. Love what you do. Once you love what you do and you know you positively affect people's lives, if you're selling drugs, don't use this. This is unfair. If you're selling cigarettes or teaching people how to get hooked on gambling, then you have to look in the mirror and deal with that. But if you're providing a service, or if you're providing real estate, stock, whatever it is that you do, if you're doing it, you gotta love it so much that you want to get people in it no matter what. My first apartment house, it was an old rundown mansion.
Massive lesson here, everybody.
Yeah, it was an old rundown apartment house, a mansion, like, I mean, beat up, old big house. And I ended up getting the house for no money down, and I converted it into 10 apartments. So what was cool is I'd fix one up, I was living in it while I fixed it, and then as soon as it was done, I'd rent it and I'd move in one not done. But I got through all 10 of them.
Crazy.
So now I have this 10-unit apartment house. It's doing great for me. I'm 19, 20 years old. You know, it's bringing me in $5,000 a month net, which was a gazillion dollars, because now I'm living for free.
Yeah.
And and plus it's building value. So I got no money down, refinanced it, pulled some cash out. I used that money to go into the next one. Long story short, had a huge lawn. So every Saturday, because my dad was born during the Depression, my dad grew up with, if you could do it yourself, you don't pay anybody, right? So every Saturday, I'd spend 5 hours. I had a massive lawn. I'd mow. I have allergies, so my eyes are tearing. I'm weed whacking. Shit hits your legs, and it's just. Yep. And then one day I realized, wow, I'm mowing my lawn a whole day. I hired a kid down the street for $50 to mow my lawn, and he's mowing the lawn. My dad pulls in. True story, zero exaggeration. I tell it to my dad all the time. He's like, sorry, I was wrong. My dad pulls in. He goes, and this is how my dad talks to me, whether you think it's true or not. He goes, Mr. Big Shot, you finally went too far. You're so freaking big now that you're gonna pay someone to mow your lawn when you can do it. And he got so mad that he left and he hit the gas, and it was gravel driveway, and he dented the shit out of the side of my car. It was just like, dunk, 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 dunk. And I'm like, and he left, and maybe he gave me the finger when he was leaving or something like that. That's my dad, he's got an Italian hot head, right? And he left, and it was so profound that I knew at that moment I was onto something. I really did. I'd love to say it was this epiphany and the sky opened up, but I was like, wow, my dad still struggles. And what I realized, and this is what I want to share with you, is I realized an ROI on my time. At that time, I had 15 apartments. I had 2 houses being built. I had a collision shop and a used car dealership. If I went down to the used car dealership and sold one car, I probably netted about $2,000 a car back then. I sold lower end cars. So in that day, without mowing the lawn, if I sold one car, it cost me $50 to mow the lawn, I made $2,000. Or if I drove around that day and found my next apartment house, could be tens of thousands of dollars. And it just hit me. It was so profound at that moment that I'm going to start equating things I do with an ROI. Yes. It's like if and the great part is if you keep noodling it, it doesn't matter if something costs you $500 an hour. If you're working in your unique ability, you can make $10,000 an hour, still pay someone to do it. We get so lost in being something for someone else. Do we really remember who we are? Answer that question honestly. Think about that. I mean, maybe you were somebody for your parents when you were younger. Maybe you were someone for your teachers. Maybe you were someone for your first girlfriend, your first boyfriend. Maybe you're someone right now for your husband or your wife or your current situation with your parents. Or maybe you're someone for your boss. Maybe you're a certain someone at church on Sundays. And maybe you're another certain someone when the doors close and no one's watching. So who the hell are you? I mean, what version of you is really you? And I want to, that's a thought-provoking question on purpose, because life is going by so fast, it's unbelievable. And I mean, at least for me, I don't know about you, but the last 5 years, oh my God, it's on hyperspeed. I would slow it down. My kids right now are as I'm sharing this, are 9 and 11. Like 5 minutes ago, they were babies. And that means in 5 minutes from now, they'll be graduating high school. And 5 minutes after that, they'll be, getting married, having their own kids. So let me ask you, are you wasting any time being someone that's not really you? You see, we are these, and we all do it. Don't think as I say that I'm perfect and I'm just this oneness and no, I'm not. But I'm acknowledging it and I'm aware of it and I work on it, because here's what I think. I think the ideal happiness, like we're all looking for happiness. We're all looking for more yay and less right, in our lives. I think we can all agree that's true. But when you're being someone else for everybody else, are you really being true to the best version of you? See, we're someone in front of all these other people, and we're someone if we're a boss or if we're an employee or any of that stuff, right? But then who's the person late at night when no one's around? Who's the person when you're thinking and your mind's just going? When the ego's not there, when the outside influences aren't there, when maybe you're a little bit more vulnerable. Who is that person? You see, here's what I know. Here's what I believe the definition of success is. First, it's knowing what success means to you. I know I'm being successful when? I know I'm being successful when I'm spending time with my family. I know I'm being successful when I have complete control of my life. I know I'm being successful when I have freedom to make the choices I want. First off is knowing what success means to you. But I think there's another layer, like there's another level. And the next level is, I know I'm being successful when I know who I am and I'm just being that. Imagine being congruent in all areas of your life. Everything, like your phone, you could leave it unlocked and open no matter where you go. If your boss was listening in, or your employees were listening in, or your business partner was listening in on every conversation of your life, you wouldn't care. If your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your parents were hearing what you said when no one was around. If your friends, then when you're with one group of one set of friends and you go with another group, if they could hear everything you'd say, it wouldn't matter. Imagine how successful, when I talk success, yes, I mean money, but I mean all the other pieces too. Imagine how successful we would be if we were just one version. There wasn't any hidden compartments. Do we all have secrets? Of course. I don't care who you are, unless maybe Mother Teresa. We all have secrets. We all have things that maybe we don't want everyone to know about. But what if we could work? What if we could work over time to become so congruent that there's only one version of you? I think there's three types of entrepreneurs. There's an entrepreneur who wants to work under the blanket of someone else, right? They're the person that's in a company. You're like, man, that guy, that woman, they want to rise up through the ranks and be an entrepreneur, but kind of with the safety net. And it doesn't make them better or worse than anybody else. Without the implementers in your life, without the team, who would I be without the amazing people on my team? Secondly, there's lifestyle entrepreneurs. Like my buddy Dean Jackson, he's got this I know I'm being successful when list. This is for anybody who's got a lifestyle entrepreneur. There's just a certain amount of money. He says, I know I'm being successful when I don't have an alarm clock in my house and it never goes off. I wear black t-shirts every day and no one gives a shit. I golf, I golf at least 5 times a week. Correct. I live on a $50,000 a month net income. I live like, what do you say? I live like an artist with a trust fund, except I don't know how to paint. So he's got this, he has this list. He knows he's being successful when, and that's lifestyle entrepreneur. And then there's entrepreneurs that just want to they're accomplishment based. It has nothing to do with the money. They thought it was the money, and I think this with me, they thought it was when I get the money and success out of the way, then I could stop worrying. And it's not. It's the next accomplishment. What can you do? It's the game, and I think it converts. That's why you see somebody like Richard Branson that his whole life now is Virgin Unite. His charity. I spent a couple weeks with him out in his island because me and Joe Polish raised $1 million for him, so we got to spend time with him. And he started that same process, made all the money, and then now he's still driven. But now it's how many more schools he can build in Africa. So it never changes. But always have your focus on something. Like you see people who go to Warren Buffett. His age, he's still crushing because he has a bigger purpose. We always have to have that. So I would say, a couple of years ago, especially when the kids are young, I was thinking of, should I just cash out and spend 10 years being a dad? But I wouldn't be the best me. I love accomplishing. I love creating. I love something new. The movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. It might be before your time. Maybe you never saw it. But it was a whole concept of if you build it, they will come. It was about his father was a professional baseball player. And he kept having these dreams and these visions and heard this voice of if you build it, they will come. And he built this awesome baseball field out in the middle of his farm in a corn patch. And then all the ghosts of baseball past came and played. Amazing movie, great, inspirational. But that's unfortunately how most people feel about their businesses. They feel if you build something good enough, if you build the right, or you find the right widget, or you create something people need, that if it's so good, or if you write a book and it's so good, or you create a course and it's so good, or if you become a real estate investor and you're so good, if you build it, they will come. And guess what? They will not come. That's the biggest misconception people have about business. What happens is there's some outliers. There's a book every couple of years that just gets written and virally goes nuts. There's a video that gets made and it goes viral and everybody sees it. There's a product that's created and you see it and you don't hear anything behind the scenes. You just think they built it and people came. And that's not true. You see, if you don't focus your energy in your business, in your new side income, in the thing that you have passion for, if you don't focus on marketing and sales, most likely you'll fail. I don't know how else to put it. I'm just going to put it the way it is. People who don't obsess on marketing and sales fail. Here's what I know. I wanted to help change people's lives through showing them how I made money in cars and real estate. My first course to teach other people was called Motor Millions, because that's what I did. I hustled cars in my teens, my early 20s. I'd match buyers and sellers. I'd fix wreck cars, and I made a living. In fact, I got into real estate while I was doing cars. The cars what paid my bills. And I started with no money, so I wanted to show people how to make money with cars. I created a course called Motor Millions. Now, that was amazing. And I just thought, hey, I'm going to build this great course, being naive. I'm going to build this great course, show people I did it, and people are just going to buy it. That wasn't the case. I had to learn how to market, and that was tough because it went against everything. In fact, I used to think maybe marketing and sales was a little a little shady. Absolutely not. Everything you do, you're being marketed to. Everything you do, been sold to. Sales and marketing are the oxygen of every successful company. Remember that. Sales and marketing are the oxygen for every successful company. And think about it. Can you go without oxygen? Heck no. Can a business go without marketing and sales? Heck no. So then I build my first real estate course to teach people how I made money with real estate. Was called Think a Little Different. Same thing. Think a Little Different did pretty good. It was a great course. Showed people how to make money in real estate. It was a great course, but it wasn't a monster hit. And then I started realizing that what I was sharing with people, the benefits of my course, the benefits of my experience, the benefits of people not have to learn through their own trial and error. They can learn from my trial and error. All of that was there, but I was still doing okay. Several $1 million in sales, profits were tiny. And then I realized what I was missing is I needed to obsess on marketing and sales. I needed not to become a good marketer, not good with sales. I had to become amazing at it. And something I just always love saying is, because it really affected me when I was young, stop trying to get good at the things you suck at too. I need to say that because it's the biggest lie we've ever been told. It dings our confidence when I still can't read. If I wrote you 2 sentences in an email, half the words would light up misspelled, and some of them are so bad that I tried 3 different times to spell it, and the computer can't even, like, if it could talk to me, it'd be like, idiot. Like, what are you trying to say? I have no freaking clue what you're saying, and then I just put, like, good. You know? Like,
I completely relate to that.
But what it does is, let me just ask you, watching or listening right now, if you work on something you suck at, does it make you feel empowered? Does it make you feel like you want to, like me trying to do accounting? Like, could never do it. It's not my personality. So what I know about the most successful people on the planet, including you, Ed, you just got really great at a few things.
Correct.
The things that light you up, the things that inspire you, and when that fire starts, you can't stop it, and eventually you'll pay someone to do the things you suck at. Maybe you can't afford that now, but just don't let anybody give you a bill of goods on working on the things. Try to get better at what you're failing. No, just go get great at a few things. And
I wish I could debate you on that, but I can't because I 100% agree.
Did you ever have something where it immediately boiled your blood, made you feel pissed, like anger or adrenaline rushed through, and not in a good way, not positive adrenaline? A lot of times that happens when you know someone took advantage of you. You know, sometimes that happens when people lie to you, like blatantly lie to you, or someone causes something when you knew it was going to happen. Like, please don't do that. Please don't do that. They do it and it breaks, or it changes, or the relationship is over, or the business doesn't work, or someone robs money from you. I don't know, maybe you're thinking right now, maybe somebody took advantage of you by being unfaithful in the relationship. Yeah, this is Millionaire Success Habits Podcast, but all of these things lead to a successful life. And that's why I want to share each and every one of you. I want to share this with, because we got to get it. Like, this stuff's got to stick to us. We don't get this by reading one book or listening to one podcast or watching one video. We got to live this shit.
For lack of a better word, we got to stop screwing around. We got to implement this and be a part of our life. So the reason I'm sharing this morning, I bought a piece of property 20 something years ago. I'll just tell you the story at 30,000 feet. So I buy this property 24 years ago, 26 years ago, crazy, long time ago. I bought it with someone, and since then, they kind of bailed out. Little piece of property, not millions of dollars, smaller piece of property. But anyway, long story short, they bailed out. Don't pay the taxes, don't pay the insurance, and so I've been paying it for years. Now, this has been 20 something years. The property's been sitting there and I just had it for too long. It's time to I'm going to unload it and sell it to a friend at a huge discount. About a third of what I've paid for the taxes over the year and the insurance on the property, right? So I reach out to the half owner and all I said was, hey, you know what? We got this property. I'm selling it to a friend just so I don't have to pay the taxes on it. If you want it, you could surely have it. Take over the taxes. But I'm just going to dump it. So could you sign off on it? No reply. Finally, I get a reply this morning. And it's like, well, how much could I get out of it? What kind of money could I get? And after all these years of not saying anything and all these years of other circumstances where I went above and beyond for this person years and years ago to help out, that's what I got. Now, I'm literally in my car before I go and I'm looking at text messages just moments ago. And I got furious. Like it hit me like maybe it's old feelings, like maybe being picked on when I was little because I was small or, you know, just something hit my ego, something hit my pride. And I was pissed. I'm like, I wanted to reply back like, what the F do you mean? Like all that I've done, paid all the taxes, all the other things. All I'm asking is to stop the bleeding, or you could even have the property if you want it. And that's the reply I get, not, hey, thanks for covering the taxes and insurance for all those years. Sorry, I haven't brought anything up. Sorry, I didn't contribute. But guess what? Here's what I realized. I got mad for probably that something like that could have made me mad 20 years ago for a week. I could have bitched about it. I could have told my friends about it. I would have said, oh, you don't believe what's happening to me. So my first reply was a bit snarky, like not super sarcastic. I'm like, well, then I'm done. You could have it. Take the property. I'll sign it off to you. And I almost sent another one like, what the F, man? Like, why would you? And then I thought about it and I said, the only person that's hurting is me. I'm going to film a bunch of videos today. I'm at my studio. I just pulled in my office. I'm at my studio. It's 8:24 a.m. as I'm recording this for you. And I'm going to go in and film videos for 3 hours on a training that I freaking love. It's going to be so awesome. You guys will get access to it and you'll see it and some new podcasts and all that. If I let that bug me, that's going to screw up how I positively affect you. If I let that bug me, it's going to throw my day off. If I let that bug me, I'm going to not be the same dad to my kids when they come home from school today. I'm not going to be the same person. It's going to throw me off. Guess what? The other person, nothing's going to change for them. The only person it's going to negatively impact by me getting pissed is me. Because can I make them act a different way? Am I in charge of their emotions? Am I in charge of the way they feel? And I thought, well, maybe they're going through something. Maybe they're financially strapped. Maybe they're fighting with their spouse or their loved ones. And I just sat. This all happened literally in moments. I'm sitting in the car ready to send a wise ass reply. And I said, if I send this, only person that's hurting is me. I'm going to be off today. I won't shoot my videos. I'll start thinking, why would they do this to me? I'm such a good guy in this situation. I went over and above and people take advantage of me. Then I'll start thinking, who else is taking advantage of me? And who else has screwed me over? And why is that happening? And is my accountant doing the right job? Is my secretary doing a good job? That's the path we can go down. Am I perfect? Hell no. I screw this shit up all the time. But I just sat. And I erased the reply I was going to send. And I sent one back and said, okay, no worries. I'll handle it. I hope things are well with you. Have a great day. And best wishes on all you do. And I sent it. And it was done. It was literally done. The anger I felt, the getting taken advantage feeling I had, it was all done. It was out and it was gone. And let me ask you, what are you holding on to right now that's hindering your success. You want millionaire success habits? Let go of the stuff that's holding you back. Let go of the stuff that builds resentment. Let go of the stuff that allows you not to trust anybody. Let go of the stuff that's stopping you from great relationships. Let go of the stuff that's stopping you from having a partnership. Let go of the stuff that keeps you afraid of going on and venturing out to do your own thing. It's only hurting you. I'd love people to really think about is their thoughts. Have you ever read The Untethered Soul?
No.
Got to put it on your list.
Okay.
How about Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now?
Sure. Yeah.
You read that?
I have. Yes.
Okay. So, and Untethered Soul is, for me, it's that and so much more. It's a great book.
Wow.
So I don't know if you had another question. So I'll reframe that. It's that one.
Yes.
But if there's one specific question, I'd love for people to say, how do you be the observer of your thoughts? And that's something.
So how do you?
Yeah. And that's something I would, and the only reason I say this is because I've been obsessed with it for the last 3 years, because I want to be the observer of thoughts immediately. And I'm not there yet. I want it to trigger, because when you're having a bad day, an angst day, a stressful day, you feel off or overwhelmed, most of the time it's just the thoughts we're having in that particular day. And when you can look back and view those thoughts, you can make a decision to throw them out or not let that spin you up, or feel it for 10 minutes and then throw it out. But when you leave them there, they just linger. And the more I've become aware of my thoughts, the more I've evolved as a person. So again, I'm sitting here because my daughter, you're probably bored to death, hon. Love you. She's doing great over there. I'm going to tell a story about her. I am trying to observe my thoughts as they happen. Yeah. So I don't know if she'll remember this, but we were, and I'm sharing this as my story, but I want you to put yourself in these shoes. This could be your husband, your wife, your kids, your coworker, your partner, people you do business with, employer, employees. But we're at breakfast, and breakfast is really important to our family. We have breakfast every single day, and I cook for them most of the time. And so we sit at breakfast and we try to have conversations about gratitude and all this kind of stuff. And my son, Brody, was obsessed with these crayons. And they were like these crazy colors. They weren't red. They were like aqua blue, marine, something.
Sure.
So I'm sitting there using them, and I pull it out. I go, God, this is a cool color. And he names it. And I'm telling this for a reason. So I pull out another. He names all. I was at 25 or 50 in that pack. So he names all of them, these big, long names. I'm like, dude, what an incredible gift. I couldn't memorize these if I spent a month trying.
Right.
That's not how my brain thinks. But that's him. He's this structured, organized kid. Huh. So Bree, she says to me, I can do that. So I don't know if you remember this, hon, but she studied it. And like 5 minutes later on the second one, she didn't remember. I'm like, we're all blessed with different gifts. I couldn't remember. He does that, but my daughter's the inventor. She comes up with ideas that are real, not kid inventions. She's going to be amazing. She's going to be the visionary. My son's going to be the implementer. If you ever read Rocket Fuel, that's the two kids I have. I have an implementer and a visionary, right? So when she tried, all of a sudden, she got upset and started almost crying. And she said, because there was so much attention going to my son.
Of course.
And she says, Dad, it's because you spend more time with Brody than me in the mornings. And I remember just having the immediate thought that may have came from my dad or the way I was brought up. And I said to her, Bree, don't lie to me and don't lie to yourself. That's not true. I work my butt off to be completely equal, and you're telling yourself a lie. It's not a good story. And I went on this rant, and she tucked it up. She stopped tears. She tucked it up. It was the first time ever that she left the house without kissing me goodbye, ever. And I'm like, well, she just got to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
And she left for about a half hour, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I observed that thought I had. And what I basically told my daughter is that I didn't give a shit about her feelings, that it didn't matter how she felt.
Right.
That Dad was right. Tuck it down. I said if she was married to a man and I watched her try to tell her husband about her feelings, how she was feeling, and he basically told her to shut up and tuck it down, I'd have a talk with that dude if he's married to my daughter. And I treated my daughter that way. I got in my car because I'm sharing this because I practiced trying to observe what's going on. Why am I feeling this way? What is this thought I'm having? Step back, look at it. When I stepped back and looked at it, I knew I screwed up. I drove to school 100 miles an hour.
Even if you were right.
Even if I was right. No,
but it's not about...
I might have been right that I keep equal time.
Yes.
But I didn't acknowledge her feelings.
Exactly.
I didn't acknowledge her feelings. I mean, and that's the gift of selling. It's not what people need. It's what they want and how they feel, right? So I told her feelings were off. I drove to her school 100 miles an hour. You were at chapel. Do you remember I came and got you out of chapel? I got her out of chapel, and I walked her outside, and I said, Dad screwed up. I said, I may have been right in context, but I wasn't right in telling you your emotions mean something, your feelings mean something. And we had a great talk. We hugged, we kissed. Her and I had the best relationship in the world. And I left. And I felt amazing. And she felt amazing. And I never would have caught that
if I wasn't observing my thoughts. So I say that story about my family, my daughter who's sitting here right now, but who are you not, what thoughts are clouding your judgment in a marriage or in a relationship or in your partnership or trying to get a raise or taking your life to another level, whatever it is in your life, most of the time it's those thoughts that are messing with us. And if you can observe them, you can adjust them. I just told a story to a dear friend of mine that I haven't shared in ages. And I look back at this story. It's the first time I ever made $1 million. I was in my 20s. It was on a real estate deal. And I say that now, $1 million to me then might as well have been $200 billion. But I look back and I wonder if I would be as creative and as hungry now as I was when I did that deal. Because here's what I know is a lot of times being successful has a lot to do with being naive or not been told no to where you start believing what other people say, to not have watching the news for years so you just want to play small or listen to people tell you how now this isn't the right time, not the right president. All these things in life, these outside influences, outside game affects the inner game. It makes you play small without even realizing. Like every year you just start playing smaller and smaller. Well, I was in my early 20s. Had no money. I mean, when I say no money, nothing, right? Just working hard. I was hustling cars. I was fixing wrecked cars and selling them. And this piece of property came for sale. Well, it actually wasn't for sale. It came for sale because I became friends with the owner. His name was Mark Miller. He's a famous artist. And he owned 28 acres of vineyards because he owned a winery. And there was an old vineyard, had the grapevine still in it, but the weeds had grown up. And everybody stayed away from this property because he wanted $180,000, and all the neighbors got so used to the property being vacant that one guy shot his bow and arrow. He practiced, his arrow for archery hunting. He practiced on the property. Another guy had his four-wheeler trail through the whole thing. Another guy, there was a barn on the property. One of the neighbors kind of adopted the barn because it was kind of vacant. No one was around. So he kind of adopted the barn and used it. And to him, it was his. And the other guy up on the hill just wanted complete privacy. He didn't want anybody building next to him. That's in real estate, we call it not in my backyard. I could build a house, but I don't want anybody building in my backyard, right? So everybody stayed away from this property, and plus he was asking maybe a little bit too much. But Mark Miller and I, the gentleman on the property, became friends, and I made a deal with him to give him $90,000 up front and $90,000 in 2 years or a year, something like that. And I was going to subdivide this property. So I didn't have the 90 grand back then, and I told this story prior. One of my clients and friend lent me the money to buy the property. I made him a partner on it. So I went to Mark Miller, I locked up the property, and I go through now I'm sharing this story specifically, take the lessons out of it, is one of it was being naive. And one of and I put this in my first real estate course, which was called Think a Little Different. Because I want to encourage you to think outside the box. Life paints you inside. Life is forcing you in at all times. We go to school and they give us time frames and buzzers and bells and don't talk to anybody else and sit in your square, sit in your world. Don't stray out. In business, if you don't collaborate with others, you die. But in school, if you do it, it's called cheating. Makes zero sense to me. It's like the world is designed to put you in the box, and the only people who make it to live at their full potential are the ones who break out of the box. So I'm sharing this story because being naive, being young, and being freaking hungry. I mean, I was hungry for another level. There was nobody telling me no, made this $1 million deal. So buy the property. I start going through the subdivision process, and I'm beg, borrow, and steal. I'm hustling cars during the day to use the money to pay for this subdivision. I have engineers and architects, and then I got to lay out the road, and I'm learning all this stuff about a big subdivision. It's called a major subdivision. I had done a minor subdivision, which was like 3 lots or 4 lots or less. So now I'm doing a major, and all of a sudden it starts. I go to the first planning board meeting, and all the neighbors show up, and they're just like I murdered their children, for lack of a better word. They just despised me. And I'm like, wow, how am I gonna do it? And you gotta realize in business, one person upset can stop or cause you years. And I didn't have the money to drag this thing out for years and fight the neighbors and all that kind of stuff. So they go, and one of the guys' name was Wade Sargent. His mother and my mother were best friends growing up. So Wade was still there fighting me. He didn't want this subdivision to go in his backyard. So I walked to Wade's house one day. This is being hungry.
This is being not afraid to go after your dreams, not taking no as an answer. When's the last time you gave up too easy and someone else got their dreams, maybe with your idea? So I knock on Wade's door. His name was Wade Sargent. I said, hey, Wade, what's up? Hey, Dean. He was kind of like, you're my friend, but you're trying to ruin my backyard. So I said, Wade, listen, I'm going to make that subdivision happen. It might take me longer. Everybody can fight me. I'm going to make it happen. I don't give up. But how can I make you happy? And what he told me changed everything. He said, well, I just really don't want the road to go close to my backyard. If I had a little buffer, I'd be fine. I'd support you. I'm like, well, by buffer, you mean if I sold you a piece of that property, you'd be happy? He said, yeah, would you do that? I said, heck yeah, I'll take your money. So I do a lot line revision, not even a subdivision. You don't have to know real estate to understand this. I did a lot line revision and I gave him a half of an acre and he cut me a check. I'm like, wow. I went to all the neighbors. The guy that was using the barn like it was his, carved out an acre and sold him the barn. The guy that wanted privacy, I sold him 4 acres. Another guy wanted a 2-acre cushion. Next door neighbor wanted to sell some wanted to put a house for his daughter on his property someday. I ended up selling over $250,000 worth of lot line revisions to the neighbors. And all of them happy. All of a sudden, all of them from hating me, everybody staying away from this property, they all love me. I was the guy going down the road, they high-fived me, they waved to me. And then guess what? Then I subdivided the center piece of property and sold the center for over $800,000. Brought in over $1 million on this piece of property by making the neighbors happy. Now, people much smarter than me, developers in our town, looked at that property, told me I was crazy. Rick Affuso's dad told me, because he had farmed that property when he was a kid, and I respected him. He was a great real estate developer in our little town. And he told me, you paid $180 for that property, you just lost your butt. He didn't say but. You just lost your ass, he said. And I was like, damn it, maybe I did. But they were all looking at it from inside the box. I was desperate. I was hungry. I didn't take no for an answer. And I looked at it completely different. Like the name of my first course, Think a Little Different. Where in your life right now are you inside the box and you don't realize it and you need to think a little different? That's where change happens. That's where innovation happens. That's where breakthroughs happen. That's when people go, holy crap, how did he do that? How did she do that? It's by not taking no for an answer, not looking at it through a set of glasses that everybody has. Everybody's got the same glasses on. Wear a different pair. Look at things differently. Go for it. Don't let the world talk you into being complacent. There's probably not much I'm sharing today you haven't heard before. You've read it in books, you've heard it someplace, you've watched a video or a podcast, but what I'm gonna ask you to do for the first time is actually listen and apply it. And that's been my mission lately, is like, I know there's some of the things, success principles are the same since the beginning of time. Yep. But when is it time to stop being inspired, stop just watching Ed, and start just doing what Ed does? Like, when is that time to stop looking for the next hit of a great podcast, the next hit of watching Tony or Dean or Ed or Andy or somebody watching, feeling good, and then going back to the same routine? What if this was the time? What if this was the interview? What if this was the moment you said, I'm not just gonna listen, I'm gonna start to do? When I wake up, I do not look at my phone. Yes. If I do, it's Russian roulette, it could be. So first thing, I don't look at my phone. Second thing, I just find something to be grateful for. But if you've ever done a gratitude journal and you know you're 3 months in, you're like, I got nothing left. I said my daughter 27 times, my son 42, you run out of stuff. So for me, I just want to be grateful for the little things. Like I wake up and the sheets feel good. I'm like, wow, the sheets feel good. Or 150,000 people die a day. You didn't die. I'm grateful just sitting here with you right now. The littlest thing, only so it frames your mind in a gratitude space. I'm not talking about a long meditation. I don't have time for that. Maybe you do, and that'd be great. But I just think of something in that moment to be grateful for. And then in the next moment, I just think of one win from the day before. Because listen, as entrepreneurs, if you're watching this, you want another level of life, you kick your own ass more than anybody could. You work a 16-hour day and you come home and you're like, I got nothing done today. You lie to yourself. You beat yourself up. So it's a moment to go, no, yesterday I closed that deal. Yesterday I got to meet Ed and I know he'll be a friend for life. Like just one thing. That's it. Seconds. Gratitude. One thing was a win yesterday. Then I think of one win for that day. What's one thing I want to accomplish? If I do that little tiny thing, it puts my mind in offense and I'm in a different space. Listen, I hear this all the time. and talk about it all the time, but it hits me in different moments of my life. At the end of our life, man, we are going to look back and wish we didn't get mad at one thing or let things bug us or worry about if someone took advantage of us. This life is going so damn fast. And maybe that's because of the age I'm at now. I see how quick it's going. I'm going to be 50 this year when I'm recording this, and I'm like, wow, how did I get to 50? It went like that. So I got another 50 years left, it's like, and that's if everything goes right. And man, what if I look back at my life and I was at the end of it and I looked back and said, oh, remember that day that you sat there and were furious and pissed off all day over something that you couldn't control? Why'd you waste that day? So I want to ask you, why are you wasting any days? Especially on things people probably have taken advantage of. People probably hurt you in the past. But if you want the millionaire success habits to go to another level, the same habits that'll bring your joy, abundance, happiness, wealth, prosperity all together, let it go. Let it go. You might never get the apology. You might never get I'm sorry. You may never get the money back. You may never get what you deserve. But that's okay, because it'll come someplace else. Remember karma. It's not about getting back from what you gave. Just give everywhere, and all of a sudden someone taps you on the shoulder, and behind you, without you even know it was coming, comes the perfect relationship, comes the perfect business partnership, comes the money, comes the company. And the more we can remember that, the more we can practice it on a regular basis, the more success you'll have in your life.
In today's world, we are so busy with social media and our phones sitting next to us and Facebook and Instagram and emails and text messages that we're running faster than we ever have in our entire life. So when you're so busy, it's like we have a cloud around us, and setting goals just doesn't work for most people in today's crazy fast-paced world. When's the last time you tried to sit down and look forward to where you're going to be in a year or 5 years? It's hard, right? It doesn't work anymore. So I want to give you a little hack. Don't set goals. Create a vision for yourself. And here's how you do it. Let's pretend it's a year from now, and you're looking back on your year and it was the best financial year of your entire life. You're making the money you want. You have the confidence you want. You have the courage you want. You're living in the house you want. You have the job you want. You're treating your husband, your wife, your children, your parents the way you want. You're walking around looking younger, feeling better. What does that look like to you? Write that down as fast as you can. Write down a vision for yourself. Instead of looking forward, you're pretending it's a year from now. You're looking back, best year of your life. Write it down. That's your vision. That becomes the new way to goals. Again, goals is looking forward. Vision is looking backwards. For me, confidence is, I just look at things again in the simplest form. I've never done anything good in my life when my confidence was down. I never got the girl when I was young. I never closed the deal. I didn't get the money I wanted. I didn't get the partnership. And not like your confidence is in the toilet and you're pathetic with your shoulders down. I'm talking about your confidence is 5% off.
Yeah.
Did you ever go into a meeting and you know you're a little off and you're like, I'm just gonna grit my way through it, and you come out, you're like, damn, I should have just either ignored it or took a moment to build my confidence because I didn't get what I wanted. And I've just been obsessing on knowing that my confidence needs to be high at all times. So there's a million different ways to go. I love what Ed said on how to build confidence, keeping the promises you make with yourself. Incredible. One of the things I do is I really obsess on looking at the things that take my confidence. So for me, as simple as this sounds, is I haven't watched the news in 10 years. I don't watch it all. Because I've never watched the news and got down and go, wow, whew, I feel amazing. Like, you don't watch the news and go, Ed, hey man, I watched the news this morning. Dude, you should catch it at 12.
You're not going to believe it.
You're not going to believe how amazing shit is. No, you watch the news, you're like, oh my God, right? So the news, I know this sounds crazy and we know this is simple, but I've really eliminated the people in my life, and you've heard this a million times, that rob my confidence. And I've either become, if they're family members, I put the Teflon up, or I've slowly pushed them out of my life. And any exercise, anything that I do that robs my confidence, the people I surround myself, exercises, like I said, don't work on your weaknesses. I've obsessed on not to do lists. So if I go, hey, when I do X, Y, Z, it robs my confidence, I don't like it, I know it's got to go out of my life. Like my threshold, confidence builder, confidence detractor. If it's a detractor, it goes on the thing that's got to go away. So I would just encourage you, think about the things, the people, the events you do, going to happy hour with the guys from work and all they do is complain about how your job or your boss is or your company is. If that makes you feel bad about yourself, then they're robbing you of your bigger future. So I would say one of the things besides what Ed said is make a list of the things that ding your confidence just a little bit and either reframe them or eliminate them. I went to work with my dad in his collision shop, and I used to fix cars every day. I mean, you wrecked your car, I fixed it. I painted acrylics, I changed engines, I did brakes, I was greasy every day. You know what? It was part of my journey. But then in about, maybe 90-ish, maybe 93, my dad went through a really horrible divorce. His third divorce, it hit him really bad, and he gave up on life, gave up on his business. He let the building where the collision shop was, he let it go. Said, I'm not paying rent, didn't pay the rent on his house, and said, I'm done with my house. And he literally checked himself into a place to get better, and they wouldn't let him out. So he was in there for a while. So now I'm in my early 20s. I don't know the exact year I should, but I was in my early 20s, and I had no place to go. I had to get out of the house I was living in. He said, good luck. So I rented his house for him so he wouldn't lose it. Got some tenants in there, got that paying for itself, so that paid the mortgage. But then I had to move out of the collision shop my dad had. He rented it. So I found this barn. It was on a piece of property where I was living. I was living in a tiny little apartment I moved into this tiny little apartment, and I literally moved a compressor, a wood stove, and all my tools into this, imagining this barn, nothing big, like, barn doors barely fit 2 cars in, and it was heading towards winter, and I started fixing cars out of there. Literally, I ask every friend I have, if you wreck your car, I got this. And then I had enough goodwill that I put out to the world that I got enough to eat. Like, I'd fix a car. My attorney, I fixed his car. My friend of a friend, the guy I worked out with at the gym's buddy, and I kept hustling and pushing to get cars to fix. Working out of the most disgusting garage in the world, feeling like a pathetic loser. Because when I didn't go to college, I remember thinking, yeah, but I have a drive in me nobody else has. I don't need college. I can do this. And now all of a sudden I'm in this dumpy little barn with a couple lights in it, with a wood stove for heat, some tools, by myself, sucking fumes, getting greasy. And I had days, and maybe you've had days like this. I've had days where I was like, wow, I guess this is life for me. Maybe success is meant for other people. Maybe I should have went to college. Maybe I wish I came from a different family. I wish I was smarter. All those things would happen on the days sucking fumes, putting wood in the wood stove, greasy fingers. But here's what I remembered. I remembered those were just every third day. But I was lucky enough to realize that they were just thoughts. I could think that, and I could end up struggling like my dad. Just being honest, I love him. I could struggle like my mom, struggle like the rest of my family. I remember thinking, no, there's more for me. This is just a stepping stone. I didn't realize it then. I was a kid, but I was paying success tax. You might be paying success tax right now, thinking it's the worst thing in your world. Life is screwed up. You wish you had a better break, and when you look back someday, if you don't give up, you'll realize that you wouldn't take away those moments for anything. Listen, me standing in front of this garage where I was embarrassed and didn't want to tell my friends, and I was thinking everybody's like, oh, Mr. Big Shot, thought you were going to make it. Look at you now. Oh, working out of a garage. Yeah, that's what I felt. But now I look back, that picture is pride. This is my pride. I worked out of this garage, sucking fumes, grease under my nails, using a wood stove to get heat, using credit cards to get by, begging friends to let me fix their cars. But guess what? That built the grit. That built my muscle. That made me realize if I can go from that place to where I am now, then what's next for me? And I felt that way at every evolution, in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s. This decade, I'll be in my 50s. So what about you? Where are you currently paying success tax and you're thinking it's the worst thing in your life, when actually it's the path designed for you? You can't get to the next level without dealing with what you're dealing with right now. Old analogy, it's been played out, but if you spill a glass of milk, you can really obsess on whose fault it is, why it's spilled, how it's gonna smell, all those things. Or you can get a towel, clean it up, and get a new glass of milk. Where in your life are you looking backwards? Where in your life are you still the victim? And you could have been the victim, but is it helping you? Where in your life are you stalled? Is it money? Is it relationships? Is it your health? Where in your life are you looking backwards where you can flip it right now and just start saying, how do I fix it? How do I focus on a better outcome? How do I learn from those mistakes? Revamp, retool what I was doing and move on. You might have some
lingering from 10 years ago that you need to just focus on solutions today. But this podcast is for something different. Yes, fix the old stuff, clean it up. But I want you to start programming your mind, framing everything in your mind. Start looking. Something goes wrong, immediately go, no, I'm not going to go. How do I fix it? What are some solutions? Solution-focused thinking is how successful people get that way. Winston Churchill said the definition of success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. We're going to fail. Stuff's going to go sideways. But those who make it, those that excel, are the ones, and I've used this term before, paying success tax by focusing on the solutions, by learning from their mistakes, by having their mistakes be the building blocks to their success, not the anchor holding you down. Don't create a to-do list. Everybody has a list of all these things you want to do. And if you don't make a list, that means you're up in the middle of the night thinking, I should do this, I should try this, I should get this done, I should get this done. And then you come home at night disappointed because you didn't have enough time to squeeze it all in. So here's what I'm going to share with you. Make a not to-do list. Your not to-do list is so much more important than your to-do list because we're all too busy. When someone tells me I don't have time or I need a time management program, or I need someone to teach me how to make a day 36 hours instead of 24. I'm like, no, you're just doing things that don't serve you, don't serve God, don't serve your bigger future, don't serve you making more money or having that business you desire. So as simple as this sounds, the wealthiest people I know, the people I know who've changed the world and generated billions of dollars, when I look back on my own life, what I realized is I was lucky enough that I looked at a lot of times of what should I not be doing. So I encourage you this week, make a list of everything you do and cut out the stuff that doesn't serve you, making more money, your family, the universe, God, whatever you believe in. Because when you take that out, then all of a sudden you can make a to-do list and actually get it done. As entrepreneurs, it's great when you see when someone does a post, an entrepreneur, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Oh, life sucks. I'm going to go broke. I'm losing everything. I should have never tried. Oh no, wait, I found it. Things are good. This is really good. I'm the greatest. I can't make a mistake. Oh my God, I screwed up again. Right? That's the life of an entrepreneur, yes. But I would choose it 1,000,000 times over, even with the failures. But I have to tell you, so real estate education. Right? So real estate was my life. That's what made me a millionaire in my 20s. I wrote a book, Be a Real Estate Millionaire. That book alone broke 1 million copies. And I wrote that book and launched it in 2007 when the market was crashing. Everybody was doing it the same way. I taught people on the way down, don't fix and flip, don't buy and hold. We don't know where the bottom is. Wholesale on the way down. So I taught a wholesale strategy. The book went on fire. I don't know if any other real estate book has ever sold 1 million copies, but we sold 1 million of that one. On that way down, we built a company. We probably went from 2007 to 2012. In that downturn, when all my competitors, literally, they were all gone. By the time we hit the bottom, they were gone. And we were a $100 million a year company and making a massive impact. And I was working hard to get more influence and all those things, right? So the company's growing while everybody else is going down. So anyway, long story short, I became the #1 real estate educator on the planet. No one has ever touched as many lives as we can. And I've held that title for a long time, but about 4 years ago, we were also in the live event space doing amazing 60, 70 live events a week. I wanted to go deeper because so many of my students, you can give somebody a business on how to sell $20 bills for $10 and they'll still screw it up. They'll find a way to find an obstacle. They'll find a way to tell them that my parents said this is a scam, or nobody's going to want to buy a $20 bill for $10. Or, like, they'll screw it up, right? So I became so obsessed with it, and my deep relationship with Tony and the impact he has on people and his encouragement, I'm like, I want to go into the successful. I want to go upstream. So my whole philosophy was, I can provide you with the way to make money, but if I don't go upstream and provide you with the right habits, you're going to think I'm a loser and my doesn't work, and I don't like that. I don't want you sitting in Starbucks in 5 years going, I bought that Dean course. You can't make money in real estate. It's like, no, you can't make money in anything because you don't have the right habits. So I got obsessed with this, and I started scaling down the real estate business and going into the success space. Wrote Millionaire Success Habits and just got obsessed on it. And I have to tell you, from going with in 2013, my brands and my company, we did over $200 million in sales. To kind of wind that down and start fresh, I wanted to leapfrog, doing $200 million a year in success habits, and we took a dip. And of course, fortunately, I do well, so I didn't let anybody go, and I told the whole team, we're going to ride. I've been here. I'm purposely riding this down so we can come back out. But I have to tell you, I was about a year in. I wrote the book. We first launched it, and a lot of people are confused, like, you're the real estate guy or the success guy. It's like, no, you have to be the success guy to be that big in real estate, right? You know this.
And I have to tell you, about a year and a half in, I wasn't getting the momentum I thought I should. And I was losing my confidence, like, wow, maybe because I'm older, maybe because I ignored social media.
Yeah.
I did, because we were the #1 show infomercial-wise, and that was so big, I ignored social media, and I see all these people with 1 million followers. I didn't even barely start an account yet, right? And all of a sudden I start and I got 10,000 followers. I'm like, wow, does everybody know that? Look at the impact I made. Now I'm like the little guy in town. And then honestly, it dinged my confidence.
Thank you for sharing that.
And I started feeling a little insecure.
What did you do about it?
I started getting my freaking story straight. The same thing. Let's get my priorities straight. I said, listen, if I wanted to stay as the #1 real estate guy, is it my significance? You know what it was? It was my significance. My show ran so much, no matter where I went. People like, Dean, come in here, sit in the front, go to the front row, have this. Let me buy you dinner. All of a sudden, my show was off the air for 2 years, and I'm not getting the love. And I'm like, wow. And you know what it did? It made me a better man, though. Because I realized, what the hell am I doing it for? I'm doing it because I want to make at this phase of my life, I want to make an impact on the world, and I want to be a badass dad, and I want to be a good man and a good relationship. Like, that's what makes me successful now. Like, it's not the money, it's not the significance. And when I decided I didn't care anymore, oh my God, like Millionaire Success Habits, it was like a key turned. So when it comes to negotiating, a lot of people ask me that, Dean, you negotiate so well. Or if I close a deal, someone say, well, you did all that, and there was no yelling, there was no one upset, everybody left the table feeling happy. And that's a great byproduct, to let everybody leave a negotiating table feeling like they won. That's a major win. But negotiating's everywhere. You're negotiating literally every day. If you have children, you're negotiating with them all the time. Believe me, I know. If you still live with your parents, you're negotiating with them. If you have a husband, a wife, friends, people at work, your boss, the people that work for you, negotiating is something that we do on a regular basis, whether we realize it or not. So why not get good at it? And here's the thing. There's a lot of persuasive techniques and strategies to negotiate to win. But I want to tell you, I never knew any of those. And I would bet to say I'm one of the best negotiators I know. Now, I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. Believe me, I know there's a million areas of life that I suck at. That's just absolutely true. And we all got to realize we all are going to suck at a lot of things. You only need to be good at one or two to transform your entire life. And that's a true story. I know that from experience. But let's get back to negotiating. You see, what most people do, and maybe you do, and maybe I know I've done it in the past, is when we're getting ready to walk into the boardroom, that's an extreme, right? Walk into the boardroom to negotiate becoming a partner, or the raise, or going to the next level, or evolving, or you're walking in to form a partnership, or you're negotiating a deal on a house, whether you're buying it or selling it, or negotiating a car, anything. What we do is we rehearse in our mind what we want to say. You see, we want the person on the other side of the negotiation to understand us, right? We want them to know that, man, this is why we should be partners. This is why you should lend me the money. This is why you should sell me the house at this price. This is why you should buy this from me. We rehearse in our head, but I think our rehearsing is flawed. And let me tell you why. It's flawed because we are trying to figure out the best way to describe and to translate into them why they should do business with us, why we're the right person, why they should sell us the house or start the deal, or whatever the negotiating is, right? Or your spouse, your husband, your wife, your kids should listen to you. We're rehearsing. How many times have you stayed up late at night thinking and looping in your head what you're going to say, how you're going to do it, what benefits you have, all that? And that's great, but it's a flawed way of thinking. And here's what I'll tell you. Through experience, the greatest tool we have to negotiating are our ears. That's right, it's our ears. Because if you listen, I'm gonna give you an example. When I was, maybe 20 years old, I wanted to buy a piece of property in New York, right where I lived, in a little hometown. This is one of many pieces of property I bought through solid negotiating. So this property was for sale for $180,000, and Mrs. Mary Lepresti owned it, and a lot of people had wanted this property, but it wasn't really worth $180,000. It was worth more like $160,000. It was a 3-unit house. She lived in a basement or first floor and 2 people above. And everybody has been trying to buy this house. And everybody was offering her 165, 167. And everybody's saying, Mrs. Lopresti, she's a mean old lady. She won't take nothing. She's never going to sell that house. And I thought to myself, now this is before, now that I'm a teacher, I want to look back and see, why do I win? Why did I win certain areas, right? I'm dissecting unique processes in my life. What I realized, and whether I was born with it or not, it's teachable. And everybody I teach who uses this, their life changes. So if you're here at the podcast, you want this tool. Is I went and saw Mrs. Lopresti, and I shut my mouth and I opened my ears. And this may be one of the first times I realized the power of listening. Because if you ask a few strategic questions and shut your mouth, then the person on the other side will tell you everything you need to know to close that deal. Mary Lopresti, what I found by just listening with a few questions, I realized that, and I knew, but her husband had died the year prior. And he said, when you sell this house, you have to get $180,000 for it, and that's it. Don't take a dime less. So that was anchored in her head. She wasn't a mean old lady. She was listening to her husband who had passed away. But I also listened and heard her say that she wanted to sell it, and her whole reason for selling is she wanted to move to Florida. And she wanted to buy a little condo with no worries, and that's what her dream and her goal would be. It was listening. So what I do is I found her fears, I found her desires, and I found her goals, all through what? Through listening. When she got all done, I said, I knew for a fact that she had to get $180,000 for that piece of property. So I said, Mary, I'd love to give you $180,000. And she lit up. I mean, she was glowing. I remember to this day, what a sweet lady. She was glowing. She said, you would? I said, yes, that's what your husband wanted. I want to give it to you. But if I'll do that for you, will you do something for me? I said, you want to go to Florida and live with no worries. How much a month do you need to do that? She said $2,000. I said, okay, I'll give you the 180, but I'd like to get it with no money down. I'd like to give you $2,000 a month for 2 years. I'll buy it on contract, do a lease option, or you can hold the paper on it, but I'll give you $2,000 a month for 2 years. And at the end of that, I'll pay you the balloon balance of what's left. But no down payment. You pay the insurance on the house. Yeah, we were gonna leave it in her house. You pay the insurance on it. And 0 interest. Now, if you know what it's like to go into a house with no money down, no interest, someone else paying the insurance and I think maybe the taxes. I went in, she was ecstatic. She went down to Florida, I sent her a check every month. About 1.5 years in, I cashed out with the bank and I got the deal. How did I negotiate? Was I a hardcore negotiator? Did I make her take my money? No, she used to make me pasta dinner on Sundays until she left. We became great friends, but I look back at every negotiation that I've won in my life. It wasn't through brute force. It wasn't through power. It wasn't through over-explaining myself. What it was is me listening to what people want, listening to their fears, listening to their desires, listening to their goals, and then compute it and translate it in your head and see if you can make that a win for everybody. You win when no one else is watching is something I've been telling both of my kids, I'd bet to say 6 years, 7 years. That's about 6 years when it comes to playing sports. Now, both of them, my son plays baseball, my daughter plays softball. They both pitch. They're both really good. Not because they're my kids, they excel at it. But one thing I've been telling them forever, if you saw my kids, if you ever see me at a live event or I'm anywhere with my kids, just test me on this and say to my kids, hey, how do you win? They'll say 2 things, practice and hard work, and you win when no one's watching. And here's the thing. My daughter loves the praise of winning a game. She loves when she pitches. She has the ball in her hand when everybody's cheering for her. But that doesn't happen at the game. That doesn't happen in public. The reason she's good is because she practices her guts out when no one's watching. I want to give you a quick little story. It doesn't matter if you're a parent or not. Listen, the reason I teach my kids this, the reason I teach you guys this is because I want it anchored into my life forever. I mean, everybody wants the praise of the win. Everybody wants the winning business. Everybody wants the winning relationship. Everybody wants the winning income. They want to win the sports game. But not everybody's willing to put the time in to work when no one else is watching. So, for example, my daughter last night, as I'm recording this, it was last night, she played in the championship game from 11 to 13-year-old girls fast pitch softball. And they weren't even supposed to be in the finals, but they beat everybody, and now they're playing the number one team who is undefeated. And the only way they could take first place is to win twice. So they wouldn't even play the championship game if they didn't win the first one. So there's 2 pitchers on my daughter's team. The other girl's amazing too, great athlete. She's a year older than my daughter. She pitches first, then my daughter goes in. And my daughter had the game of her life. She did not give up one run against the undefeated team. I mean, she threw strike after strike, and all her friends came and seen her, and all her friends were saying, "Oh my God, Bree, you're so amazing. You're so lucky to be that good." And I started hearing these girls. They weren't doing it for to be disrespectful, but that's how the world is. I heard lucky or blessed or gifted. She's not gifted. My daughter wasn't. My daughter's short for her age. My daughter did amazing last night and got the praise is because she won the game when no one else was watching. I go home 4 nights a week early because she wants to throw the ball and I want to be there and encourage her. She's practicing literally almost every single day. She could go hang out with friends. She could play video games. She could do something else, but she likes to win. And she practices when no one else is watching. In fact, in my office, in my studio, where I hold my masterminds, it's big enough. And I'm gonna literally, because summers in Phoenix are really crazy, it's hot as hell. I'm putting in a place for her to pitch in the office because she said, "I don't wanna lose momentum over the summer, Dad. I wanna come back even better." Now, that's an amazing lesson I taught, and I hope that rubs off on her. I'm using sports as this foundation for her life. But let me ask you, do you want the glory? It's like wanting to be the rock star. You want to be up on stage jamming and singing and the crowd going nuts and the girls going crazy or the guys going crazy. You want all that. But how do you think those people got on stage? Do you think they rehearsed when no one is watching? Do you think they packed up a crappy old van in some cases and went to a club where no one showed up, no one's watching, but they still played, they still pursued? If you want to win the game of life, whatever it is you want, that next level of relationship, income, doing your own business, you have to practice and work hard when no one else is watching.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and how are you going to take action on it this week? When you schedule in what day, what time, and what place you're going to take action, you have a 91% chance of actually following through versus just a 35% chance if you just got motivated but never created a specific plan. And when you share your plan publicly and have some accountability, you increase your chances even further of actually following through. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway and your plan of action this week in the comments so I can celebrate you.
If you've read anything on personal development, personal growth, spent time on your own development, your own success, your habits, you're here at the Millionaire Success Habits podcast, so I would assume this is the first thing you've ever heard. I would bet to say that you know that solution-based thinking isn't something that can help you go to your next level of life. It's a must. But have you programmed yourself to actually immediately think of solutions? If not, I'm going to encourage you today to revisit this. See, there's so many people in life that, let's just take relationships. They had a bad relationship 5 years ago. Someone cheated on them. And then all of a sudden, they keep looking back at that pain of like, why would someone do that to me? I didn't deserve that. That person is so horrible. They've ruined me. They took away my trust. And you see that one thing, that energy going backwards on whose fault it is, why did it happen? You know you probably didn't deserve it. Of course you didn't deserve it. But there's so much energy going backwards that it's stopping that person from a new relationship. Same when it goes to money. If you've ever had a partner that took advantage of you, or someone that said they were going to give you money to start your new business, or a friend that was going to be a coworker or a co-partner with you, and they screwed you over, or you went through a bankruptcy, or you tried a way to make money and it stung. If you're looking backwards on that, then it's absolutely positively affecting your present. So your past is being dragged into your future because when things went wrong, you didn't focus on a solution, you focused on why it happened to you. In most cases, you didn't deserve it, and probably every case you didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve the opportunity not to work, the relationship to go bad, the partner not to come through, you didn't deserve any of it, but it happened. And here's what I know about successful people. They have changed the way they think. You see, your past
is there for research and development. Problems, we've talked about this before, problems will always happen. The level of your problems really dictates the level of your life. So without problems, you don't really have a life. Without problems, you're not playing the game of life big enough. You're playing small, and if you wanted a small life, you surely wouldn't be watching me or listening to me. So I want you to think about this in a way that maybe you never have before. Today, I want you to think about how you can change the way you think, that when something goes wrong, you immediately focus on how you can fix it. You immediately put all of your energy, because here's what I know. When something goes wrong, when someone doesn't do the right thing, when the deal doesn't go through, man, we could spend so much energy, effort, time, money, figuring out why and who. That's why there's so many lawsuits. That's why there's fist fights. That's why there's revenge. None of that ever fixes anything. You know who makes it through? The people that go, it happened. What can I learn from it? And how do I immediately take all that energy and focus on fixing it?
If you want to change your life for free in the next 30 days, check out my training right here below. Or if you want to see the top 50 I did on Warren Buffett, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy them. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.